This story begins on the outskirts of Grell. Everything changes here when the child is 12 years old. According to the old custom, on the birthday, the priest determines the future of the child. He focuses on her natural abilities. This time it was the turn of a boy named Rock. He just turned 12 years old. He is predicted to become a tamper of sacred animals. Friends are passionate about, they like this rare profession. Amy rejoices. She believes that Rock will become the lord of magical animals. Rock does not believe in prophecy. He says priests do not understand this. The boys are reassuring him. They say that the main thing is a good legend. Jessak and Kara encourage Rock. They believe that he will handle. Rock thanks them. Jessak pulls his fist forward and says he will become the best gladiator. Everyone has their own dreams. Amy wants to become the best wizard in the world. She believes that she will succeed. Inar promises to become a healer who can cure any wound. Rock, with irony, calls himself the worst tamper of sacred animals. Everyone has their own way, but the boys are glad. They are a team. This is their strength. Rock wants to be near everyone. He decides to support everyone and help their dreams, even if difficult. It's been 3 years. It is raining. A man in a raincoat rushes to the building. His steps are difficult but confident. He removes the hood. It's Rock. He is 15 years old. He returned. When he approaches the door, he hears the conversation. They say that they expel someone. They talked about him. Jessak says Rock did not become a real tamper because he has no strong beast. He only carries the load and does a small job. Amy remembers the past. They used to do everything together. Now their team is S-class. It is admired by everyone. In fact, one who knows nothing can constantly fight. Isak says that their team was paid attention to the hero. This is an important chance that cannot be lost. If this character joins them, the team will become very strong. It will help to fulfill a common dream. Amy agrees. Her voice is sad. Rock hears it and loses his mood. His heart hurts because of betrayal. Jessak offers a chance to give a chance. They will meet tomorrow and go to the Dungeon of Disappearance together. If Rock manifests itself well, he will be left in the team. While everyone thinks, Amy lands his head silently. Kara holds the dress in his hands. Someone asks if she will also take a dress with her. Kara nodded. She will take a dress with her so that she is not stolen. If there is another bag, let no one be offended. Jessak sighed. The conversation ended. The team discussed everything. Jessak took the door handle and said that Amy should explain everything in the year and award. Isak came out, but one of the team stopped him. It was Amy. She wanted to say something, but he silently descended the stairs. Rock, sweaty, stopped around the corner and hid. As Jessak said, Rock has not seen a single sacred beast yet. Many look for them all their lives, happy to those who find right away. Even without the beast, he could strengthen the equipment of his friends thanks to his divine gift. He did everything. He prepared food, wore things, covered in battle, watched, agreed with the local. He was the shadow of the team. He sat on the floor in the hallway and did not know what to do next. Everything around seemed to him a stranger. A smiling blonde named Kit approached him. He will gladly join the hike in the dungeon. Rock said Jessak that a new ally is good. Jessak crossed his hands and turned away. He said nothing. Meanwhile, the cat kindly turned to the girls. He said God gave them beauty and special abilities. His manners were perfect. The cat showed his finger and said that Rock was comfortable in everyday life, but should protect things. Some of them he will not be able to buy even in his lifetime. Rock smiled and said to pick up his words back. Amy said it was not just a carrier of things, but their friend. The cat began to pull the bags and noticed in one of them the brown dress. Before the road, Isak asked Kita to show weapons. The cat calmly pulled the sword. It was the legendary sword of the killer of the dragons. He was presented by the king himself. It is said that this sword can be killed by a dragon. The blade is considered almost indefinite. It is very difficult to melt, but Rock noticed a crack on it. The cat became angry, put the sword on the throat of Rock and denied. Jessak intervened and said, "Enough, we must get rid of an act together." He asked everyone to be careful. Amy suggested to pass the dungeon together. The container will be able to cure everyone. It is reliable. Rock and Cat were crossing weapons, preparing for battle. They remembered the days when they were like a family. Now they keep their fists together again. The power of the team returned. They have always been together, regardless of the circumstances. Rock dreamed of maintaining the rivalry, but he understood he was no longer able to do it. But he still supports them. Soon they will have to go to the Dungeon of Disappearance. Rock holds the card and goes slowly forward. Jessak angrily says, "Move faster." Thanks to the skill of touching the landscape, Rock knows where the monsters are and leads the command safely. But the shortest road is not always the best. Jessak screams again and demands to move faster. Rock tries to explain why it is impossible, but Jessak does not listen. he only wants speed. He apologized to Kit and promised to quickly take him to the main boss of the dungeon. Monsters much less than before. There is no fear. Hendeman can also go first. The cat was here earlier when the dungeon was the first time. Then he almost died when he accompanied one adventurer. Since then he has not gone with robbers. It's too dangerous. The year was reflected in the great cockroaches. He was rescued by 2 knives and a quick reaction. It's time to move on. Jesek is no longer angry. He is in rage. He does not need feats. He just wants Rock to go faster. The cat breaks the map out of the hands of Rock and turns to Jesek loudly. He says Rock chose not the shortest way. The girls wonder because they thought that everything was going right. Rock wants to explain, but he is not heard. Jesek believes that he only fun with them and revenge on past images. Rock denies loudly. Amy beats him in the face. She says angrily that he still does not understand. They did not come for entertainment. Rock is shocked. It seems to him that everything around has changed sharply. Earlier he spent the dungeons and showed the best way. The group avoided the traps thanks to him. They trusted him. Now everything is different. Jesek no longer listens. He wants the fastest way, even if there are many monsters. Rock has to fight. Monsters become more. Jesek must focus on enemies. Rock cannot understand when friends have ceased to be. The team is preparing for battle. The cat stays side by side. The punishment does not believe that once considered the year a friend of childhood. Now he seems worthless to her. The cat says he had to be expelled from the team for a long time. The boys, despite the quarrels, reach the Great Gate. According to legend, the boss hides here. They have a huge entrance. Everyone stands in silence with open mouths. This is the finale of their adventure. Rock offers to relax and relax. Jesek interrupts him and reminds him of whom the delay has occurred. His look explains everything. Amy asks Kita whether he realizes that the dungeon becomes more dangerous. The cat replies that Rock a fool or a fool. The cat is offended that he hears the intonation he is referred to. It is not a mockery, but a neglect. Kara looks angry at him. Jesek returns to the year. They did not dare to say this for a long time, but now they can no longer be silent. As soon as they leave the dungeon, the year will be excluded from the team forever. After that, they will go further with Kit. The new team is already formed. Rock understands everything without words. Everyone supports this idea. He only has the wreckage of past friendship. They go to the battle with the boss. Jesek says their team is the best. The newly created team without Rock raises his fists above her heads. Rock silently remembers how he once did with them. He is instructed to monitor the punishment. He understands that this is his last task. Slowly open the door to the boss. On the other side lies a large wolf with gray-silver wool. At first it seems that he is quiet and calm. The gray wolf seems like a simple opponent. Even an E-class will handle it. But it is not gray, but a silver wolf Fenrir, son of Loki of Scandinavia's myths. This is a monster of the legendary rank. Even the S-class sealer may not handle him in battle. It is best to leave it alone. Jesek is dissatisfied. It is only a wolf. He says Kita to kill the wolf and return to the village. Rock tries to stop them and warn of danger, but they are not heard. The team has already entered the battle. Cat shocked, his sword is broken. He does not understand why the sword does not work. The wolf looks angrily at everyone and releases its true power. Rock and girls froze with fear. Their faces are tense. They are not just a boss, but something much worse. Punish and panic. She looks with fear and knees. It seems to be a horror in front of the enemy. The cat screams Jesek that you need to retreat. The sword is broken. It is impossible to fight with Fenrir, but Jesek does not want to flee until he strikes. Beating it is in vain how to throw a stone uphill. This wolf is almost invulnerable in a dream. It is better to run now while there is opportunity. Rock takes the punishment by the shoulder and pulls behind. The whole team runs to the exit, trying to get out. Jesek is angry because they are just running away. Rock runs ahead of all and shows the road. The cat smiles mysteriously and says not to worry. Rock should be an advanced shield. Suddenly he jumps on the year and injures him. The blow goes exactly in the target. The punishment falls to the ground. It is shocked. The cat beats a spare royal sword. He says other things of the year will be a gift to another world. This means that the cat is now in the team of Jasaka. Rock does not believe his eyes. Everything happened too fast to understand it. He hopes it is just a dream. Jesek and the cat are already running to the exit. Fenrir pursues them. Amy also runs to the exit and does not look. She leaves a wounded year behind. He remembers how he dreamed of getting stronger with them. Kara trusted him. The team existed only through it. He stands on his way and suddenly feels that someone is behind. It's a wolf. He stands behind and growls, but Rock is not afraid. He is not angry with him, even now. The indignation is aimed at humans. Leaving a friend to die for your own salvation is cruel. Rock is not afraid of pain. Now the pain does not frighten him. Suddenly he hears his voice behind his back. Someone says something. The wolf speaks in human language. The wolf's eyes expanded. He was surprised that this person understands his language. Yes, for some reason it is possible. Perhaps it is his ability as a titman of the monsters. Fenrir asks whether Rock wants to fight. He is bored. The battle will give a chance to kill a dozel. The guy doesn't want to fight. He hopes that the wolf will let him go. But Fenrir wants to play. He is bored on this floor. Rock is not satisfied with this game. He gets something from behind. It was a bib of Jasaka. The guy rejected him, and he fell directly under the paws of the wolf. He did not understand what was happening, took the bib and took him to the ear. The guy again threw a bib as if playing with a dog. Fenrir was confused, but still ran. He doesn't know what it is, but he likes. Rock smiles because I am glad to have learned to look after the dog. Rock says from this level not to come. The entrance is closed by a barrier. Even Fenrir will not break this barrier. The guy felt sad, but he quickly recovered. He suddenly offers Fenrir to go together on a journey if they get out of the trap. Initially, the wolf does not treat it seriously. In fact, he likes this idea. Rock is surprised. He did not expect the legendary monster to be liked. Yes, Fenrir wants to become his friend. The guy is surprised. He recalls how he read about the profession of dozers. They wrote about an inner voice. After that, a new stage comes. It really happened. Rock also wants to be friends with Fenrir. The wolf agrees. From now on, they are friends. Rock has fulfilled all the conditions and accessed the mini garden of monsters. Its creatures can go into the outside world. There are dozens of voices in the boy's head. He does not understand what the effects are. Very little is known about this profession. Fenrir smiles. He believes that it is worth the risk. It is covered by a new feeling. Rock feels the forces grow. He decides to give his new friend a real name. The wolf nods with pleasure. Now his name is Fenrir. Nice to meet. He doesn't like this name. He is annoyed that the guy turns to him as a species. It sounds too dry. He asks to come up with a new, beautiful name. Rock doubts that he turns different options in his thoughts. In the end, he offers, maybe call you. The wolf fades when he hears the name of Lackey. Then he rejoices. This is a good name. It suits him perfectly. He is happy with that name. Suddenly, a treasure chest appears. To tame Fenrir is how to defeat the boss. Inside are a bracelet and a large red collar. Lackey is very pleased. He asks the rock to quickly wear a collar. The guy puts on the bracelet of a mini garden of monsters. He hears a voice. Now it can go and leave the garden at any time. Rock looks carefully at the bracelet and thinks whether he has to do with the garden. Lackey smiles and says he can show. The wolf touches the nose of the bracelet. His body begins to get inside. Rock watches closely at him. Everything is calm. The wolf is feeling well. Lackey rejoices and offers the year to join it. The guy closes his eyes and touches the bracelet. In a moment, he finds himself in the garden in front of the house under the magic dome. He looks around. This place is perfect for relaxation. The eyes are closed. It is small but very cozy. The temperature is perfect. The weather is also good. If you need a storage, this garden can be used as a warehouse. Many magical objects store things in a different dimension, but the object that allows you to enter there with the families has not yet met. Lackey asks what we will do next. Rock is thinking, even the S-class seekers did not have this. It would be good if he collected other monsters, for example. Lackey was happy to gather brothers. He said the year that there were others like him who want to escape from the dungeon, but first you need to get out of this level. Rock jumps on his back. They quickly rush to the edge of the maze. The guy holds on to a thick mane. A quick jerk awaits him. Fenrir went a long distance in just a few minutes. The barrier and stairs leading to the light are very close. Rock advises to turn to the right because it is safer there. Lackey believes that the shortest path is ahead, but there are monsters. He wants to avoid unnecessary clashes. Lackey understood everything. He is glad that there is a partner next to him as Rock. The wolf listens and turns to the right, but Rock notices something strange and asks to stop for a moment. There are parts of the monsters nearby. They can be sold or used to create items. Lackey was happy about hearing about delicious food. He would like to try it, but he wondered where to put everything. Rock moved parts of the monsters into a mini garden. When he was riding on his back, he realized that he was so possible to store trophies. The guy jumped again on the wolf. He suggested that the lackers take the monsters to the garden on its own. Lackey pressed the paw too hard. The piece was crushed. Now he is careful. uses only the tip of the claw to avoid damaging the material, touches only a certain part. He still broke her into many small debris. It is no longer possible to fold it back. Rock encourages Lackey. He says the collection of materials is very important. They should not ignore the prey. The boy's eyes shine again. They should be ready for a real event. Problems, here she is, ahead of the stairs, but the path is closed by a strong barrier. The obstacle is very strong. Lackey frowns. It is impossible to pass. Even if the adventure was short, it was interesting. Rock stops him. He says it's too early to give up. It offers a wolf to hide in a mini garden. They may then be able to bypass the barrier. Lackey goes to the garden confidently. They are ready but not sure that they will be safe. The barrier is very strong. Rock reaches out and touches the obstacles in front. The passage opened. They went through the barrier without obstacles. They go forward. Lackey returns from a mini garden. He smiles and calm. They came out of the dungeon without any obstacle. Delays, Fenrir finished the path with dignity. Lackey is sincerely grateful for this trip. It was a real adventure for him. Rock is happy. He extends his fist, showing friendship. The varnish is ashamed but carefully raises the paw in response. The wolf remembers how accidentally damaged the monster's materials. He cautiously touches the claw of his fist Rock. So Rock tamed Fenrir on the first day of the new year. The new year brought a new union. The events are transferred to the royal capital of Krams. Rock stands on the street. Behind him is a great Fenrir. A surprised crowd gathered around. People do not understand what happened. The guards' detachment is rapidly approaching them. Their task is to protect the guild from the Grey Wolf, which they consider to be a threat. Rock says loudly that it is his family's. No one listens. The guy scratches the nape of the nape nervously. He does not know how to explain the situation. When the voltage reaches the maximum, the guild doors open. The administrator is coming to meet. Her name is. The river welcomes the year. He is happy to see her. She is surprised because Rock had to be in the dungeon of the Flame of Destruction with her team. She is surprised even when she sees a wolf. He jokingly says it's a big dog. Rock smiles and explains that it is not a dog, but a Fenrir, his family. It is lost is a truly legendary wolf. The river is happy because it became a real dozel. The guards are surprised and not believed. One of the audience, the man in the hood, suddenly understands. The guy tamed Fenrir. The river shows the year with a gesture to go with her. She says you need to register the families. Lackey lies with a ball in the middle of the street. Many people look at him. Registration is completed. The river with interest asks what happened to him. Rock is confused. He thought everyone had already returned. Rock tells how the cat attacked him with his sword and threw in the dungeon. The river is surprised to hear. It is good that the sword was broken, so there was no deadly blow. She told rumors that seemed true. When the cat just became famous, he joined the S-Class. They went to the dungeon of the Flames of Destruction. The mission failed. Only a cat and another person returned. Since then, there have been rumors. It was said that the cat used friends as a bait to escape. If it's really that cat, it's possible. But why did he choose the year? He may have thought that Rock is the weakest. I'm ashamed to admit it. The river does not understand why he thinks. Everyone always considered the year the most reliable in the school team. The guy is convinced that anyone could do the same as him. He was expelled at the beginning of the mission as soon as they entered the dungeon. The river disagrees. She believes that the team has become a S-Class thanks to the year. She does not understand how this misunderstanding arose. The river decides that the team will be lowered. It is difficult because each of them has high combat skills, but the betrayal of a friend is a serious violation of the rules of the guild. This will not be an excuse. No indulgence. Also that they have not yet returned from the S-Class mission shows the level of danger. It turns out that they have not returned yet. Amy and others are still with Kit in the dungeon. Rock understands this and quickly runs out of the guild. The river stops him. She warns, if he returns and helps the team, he can be damaged again. It may happen, but Rock remembers his friends. He does not want betrayal or revenge. He only wants to return their friendship. The river understands everything. She looks at him sad. Rock runs forward. Suddenly, he hears the voice that calls him. Lackey lay in the middle of the street. He was sitting on joyful children. Rock calls him a gesture to go together. Lackey warns, those people can betray him again. Rock understands it, therefore, it will help them for the last time. They looked into each other's eyes. There was trust in their look. Also, there was a shadow of farewell. Rock decided. Lackey respects his decision. He helped children get off their back. The children ran to the city. The guy jumped on the back of the wolf. They quickly ran to sand dunes. They returned to the dungeon of the Flames of Destruction. The cat gets angry and barks the team. He reproaches them because they cannot remember the road back. Jessak reminds Kita that he also does not remember the way back. Previously, Rock helped them to navigate underground. Amy sighs sadly. The cat says with irony that it was an elite S-class team, but everyone is moving, as if for the first time here. They came here from the 10th floor. Kit should stop complaining. Even the sword he holds wrong. He also boasted of his feats. They went the other way. He seems to be shorter, but the monsters attack the wave behind the wave without stopping. The cat thought it would be easier, but the lower, the stronger the creatures become. The battle at this level ended. The detachment is tired. We need to rest. They will soon go down to the 4th floor. Their resistance can be smaller. There is a little more. Jessak asks in what condition the spare sword of Kita. He should take care of his own because he often uses. However, Jessak's sword is in great condition. He bought it in a regular store. The weapon did not rust and had no scratches. It's a good weapon. The cat asks the girls to show their sparkles. He takes them in his hands and is surprised as possible. He again offends the detachment and does not understand why he agreed to work with them. He says they survived only through divine protection. They didn't even know it. He is convinced that in 3 years, it is impossible to reach the rank of S. Isak asks what divine protection is. They have achieved everything on their own. Their rank is a consequence of hard work, not magic. The cat says divine protection works only when the carrier is nearby. It protects the weapon from wear and tear and makes the allies stronger. All this time, the detachment was under his protection, but no one thanked the one who supported them. Without this force, they would not be higher than the C-class. Jessak does not believe that their power is only through divine protection. His pride does not allow him to accept it. He remembers youth, then they trained together. The year was often praised because he studied quickly. Jessak was told that he needed to try the same. His fist is shrinking. Jessak feels anger on the year. He does not want to admit that success belongs to another. The cat notices that something happened to Isak. He asks the punishment how many more she can use this strange force. Spell, Kara says that each team member has only 1 or 2 use. Amy can leave a Manu for battle. It holds well. But while they were talking, new monsters are already approaching. To rise to the 4th floor, you need to go past 5 orange ants. They will definitely call for help. Attached directly is suicide. The cat asks the punishment to heal everyone at least once. Jessak will be the first. The magicians will follow him. Then the healer goes. The cat will cover from the rear. The team agrees with this arrangement. They start the attack. They only look forward. Do not look. You need to break. The cat quietly sneaks to the punishment behind and wounds it with a sword. He smiles and says thank you for healing. Now they don't need it. The cat is satisfied. The punishment will be a bait so others can act. He leaves her and runs to the team to escape. The punishment remains one. An army of orange ants gathers around her. Destroying the destruction, the 4th floor, the cat has just betrayed his comrades. He explains his behavior. He says he could not otherwise. It was his only way to survive. They should not worry. Nobody knows about it. While they are in the dungeons, others automatically become complicit. The dedicated maid worked carefully. This gave them a significant advantage. The fact that they left her best shows who they really are. The cat is Murmur. He does not like the idea of collecting a team from these losers. He considers cooperation impossible. Jessak says the cat is not as strong as he thinks of himself. The guys are still fighting with ants, but something goes wrong. The strikes of Jasaka do not harm them. The monsters of the 4th floor were to be weaker. These are blue ants. Previously, they were easily won. Then divine support acted. No one thanked her. Without this support, they would only be a C-class. Jasaka attacks several monsters from the back at the same time. Suddenly Fenrir appears and saves him from a blow. Rock sits on the back of the wolf. Jessak does not believe in his eyes. Rock had to survive. Rock says he returned. He is proud of this. The cat is annoyed. What will happen next? Rock and Fenrir can destroy all ants. In this dungeon, no one knows who destroyed anyone. Amy does not pay attention to Kita and turns to the year. She asks him to save him. It is still on the 5th floor. They left her there. After betrayal, they also ask for help. It's unfair. The cat says the victim was needed. They still do not understand what they do. Rock strokes Lackers on the head and goes on. Now they do not need words. Only actions were important. This wolf is very sensitive. He doesn't like something. There is an unpleasant odor from Karina's dress in the backpack. It's her handbag. Lackey shudders from this smell. Rock goes silently forward and leaves the command behind. They break through the ants together and reach the 5th floor. It is no longer possible to go back. There are many more ants here than it seems. The smell of blood attracts them from the nests. Even for Fenrir it is too much. Rock does not delay, he immediately enters the battle. Next to the lacquer he feels strong, his fear disappears. They won all the ants, no one was saved. During the battle, Rock showed several tricks. They liked everyone very much. Lackey first saw the guy beat at full force. This is a real team. It is strong and coordinated. This is exactly what it should have been from the beginning. Now you need to find a card. Lackey sniffed the air and showed the direction where it was. The punishment lay among the fallen monsters. Rock immediately noticed her. She stood motionless in the shade, but he knew it was her. He remembered how she told him a recipe for recovery potions. It struck him. He helped her. The work was complicated, but the potion succeeded thanks to it. Rock regrets that he did not have time, but Kara taught him because she now saved her life. He gave her a potion. She drank it. He carefully hugged her and whispered that he should now be grateful. It is to her, Kara said something in a quiet and viscous voice. The sound came, she opened her eyes. She is alive. She apologized to the year that she left. The past is not returned. The year it was indifferent, but a new problem was waiting for them. This is a blanket. This is a legendary monster Fenrir. Their meeting with him is inevitable. They have to face it. Kara looked at the lacquer and said quietly, "That's he." She fainted. Rock sat side by side and remained silent. It's time to return to the city. Rock asked Lackey to allow him to put a punishment on his back at least once. Lackey sighed heavily and agreed, but only this time. His back is intended for another. The guy did not expect to hear something tender from the wolf, but he did not have time to fall because the enemy suddenly appeared in front. They stood in front of the entrance to the nest of orange ants. Lackey looked inside and saw eggs. He immediately rushed to the eggs, hoping that they were delicious. Fun ran to the nest without even waiting for the year. When he ran to the eggs, he had saliva. Rock thought it was orange eggs. But one of them was the other. Others looked destroyed from the inside. Maybe someone intervened. Now everything has become clear. The eggs crackled and ants came out. They appeared right in front of them. Rock was preparing for battle. But ants do not attack but hug the rock. They accept it for their own. The guy sits confused among newborn ants. Lackey jokes that Rock had lingered here because he knew that girls were already waiting for him. Little ants look friendly. They want to meet and become friends. In the head of Rock, a voice sounds again. Recently, they fought with the same ants. It will be unfair to leave them here. Rock agrees. Now these little ants have become his new families. Some of them are already similar to people. Time to move them to a mini garden. Rock asks Lackey to oversee the punishment until it is in a mini garden of monsters. He met 6 new monsters. The system proposes to update the garden and add 6 new features. He did not expect the garden to change again. It was a pleasant surprise. Rock wants to improve the river, pond, hut, and fruit tree. He chooses functions and thinks that if the space becomes more, then the beds will increase. He pressed the fruit tree button. The space began to expand immediately. The place has really become larger. He saw that the ants were doing something. Near the hut, the ants carefully folded parts of the monsters on the stump. Rock came closer and watched what they were doing. It turned out that they sort the materials that they won in battle. He was surprised that ants were able to do so. It was their special ability. One ant asked to call her a good girl. He agreed, though he understood that he was not her real father. I stroked her on my head. I realized that to be for someone's dad is not bad, especially when this little girl is the only one with tiara. Maybe it is really special. Now you cannot relax. Rock said goodbye and waved his hand. He believed that these creatures would not fail. He left a mini monster and returned to the real world. Lackey is concerned because something happened. Rock immediately remembers punishment. All the eggs have already hatched. Lackey is upset because he did not have time to taste any. He is also a little offended. Rock apologizes. He promised to treat it with something delicious after all. The wolf seemed to be a little fun after these words. Everything will be fine. The capital of the kingdom. I stand in front of the guild building. It's a familiar place, but I'm restless. Rock raises the punishment, asks Lackey to wait. He goes forward. He enters the guild. There is a quarrel inside. One drives the other. The cat says loudly that he is innocent. This only applies to their teams and friends. The boys argue before the guild administrator. She said Rock asked them to wait until he returned. Rock carefully planted the punishment. He asks what happened. Everyone is silent and strenuously looking at each other. Cat and Isak do not agree with everything that Rock said. The cat makes an artificial smile, as if glad of the year. He says guild has made strange charges. Then he asks the year to explain everything clearly. Rock does not know what to explain. They did not cope on the fourth floor. The cat used the punishment as a bait and left it on the fifth floor. It's not something that the cat would like to hear. The Rock wraps cold sweat. Rock mentioned the cat hit him when they ran away from Fenrir. Then Isak unexpectedly defended him. The cat tries to reassure everyone. He says the expulsion of the S-Class team does not give him the right to invent the accusation. He believes that Rock will not be able to prove anything. The cat is lying confidently and skillfully. Blame someone without proof is wrong. The cat is sure he is a hero and promises to tell everything. The king smiles ominously. He returns to the year. Rock asks a minute. He approaches Kit, takes him a broken sword and shows him to all. He lifts the blade to his breast armor, right into the place of the old wound. The blow is exactly the same with damage to the armor. The cat was surprised. The cat says Rock wounded himself to invent a story. He looks at Jessica and seeks support. Jessica is silent. The cat gets angry even more. Rock shows punishment. He asks if the cat wants to say something about her condition. Amy first notices a girlfriend and responds. She calls her name, crawls on her knees, apologizes. She says it all happened because she did not help. Punishment, Amy girlfriend. Amy regrets that she has left her, even if it is late. Rock looks at them with sadness. The cat laughs and says that her condition is her own weakness. They are here for nothing. Suddenly someone is being interrupted. The cat himself struck her in the back. Now he requires evidence. He thinks the punishment has died and will not tell the truth. Rock with a tired face leans up to the punishment and tries to wake it up. He asks if he wanted to send her to another world, because only he knows what happened to her. Sleeps, Kara mutters something and says that she is fine. Amy stands and cries, hears everything. Rock touches her shoulder again to wake up, but she shudders. The punishment opens his eyes and says fun to everyone. Good morning. Amy happily hugs her. She hugs too hard. Rock slowly removes them from each other. He asks the punishment to look at Kita. Anger appears on the face of the punishment. He hid it and used it as a bait. She offends him for all his actions. After all this, the cat still considers himself a hero. Men from the guild turn to him. Such actions are unacceptable even for a warrior. The testimony of members of the guild is accurate and understandable. He is accused of attacking allies, betrayal, attempting to destroy, failure to rescue, and violate the adventurer's rules. He can be deprived of the title of hero. Rock thanked the river for his cooperation. Suddenly, someone called him. It was Jessac. He clenched his fists and kneeled before the year. He pleads guilty. He says he had no choice and supported Kita. He asks to explain everything to others because he still wants to stay in S-Class. Rock guesses that Isak had already known about Kita's plans. Jessac pretends nothing. The cat released a year and turned to Jessac. Now Isak has become part of the team. It turns out that Jessac wanted to eliminate the year all this time. Jessac rejects all the accusations. He says he will not allow himself to talk about, claims that he always cared. He believes that Rock reached the level S thanks to him. At this point, the guild administrator intervenes. She says their team has reached this level only thanks to the year. Only Mr. Rock has the ability of the level of S. Isak can be the maximum of the C class, or even lower. At best, he is the level of V. Even if Rock had collected a team from an E class, the result would not change, but Jessac perceives it as a defeat. He does not believe that they are in B class. He thinks that the administrator invents it, but this is true. Then Isak proposes to resolve the conflict with a duel. If Rock wins, he will agree. If Jessac wins, everyone will forget about the incident. Rock doubts this idea. He has not been united with others for a long time. The river supports it. She says it's worth trying. This is an official request from the guild. He must assemble a temporary team with a ranked adventurer and show his skills. They promise a reward for performance. This is the first guild task of Rock after the beginning of his independent path. The temporary team does not frighten him. The team includes Jessac, Amy, and Punish. They will challenge. The cat will not participate for suspicion. The cat smiled, smiling. Several years passed, and he believed that there was no evidence left. A man who wanted to testify. He removed the hood. The cat seems to know this man. He is a participant of the ranked team, and with the name Black Lisa. The cat pretends not to know about it. Event, but the man says further. It happened in the dungeon of disappearance. Friends also trusted Kita. He wanted to help, but he was ignored in the city. The words of the stranger not weighed next to the hero who had power. He regrets that he did not do any more, but now everything is different. All Kita connections will not help. There is evidence. The cat stands calmly as if nothing happened. He doesn't care. He considers everyone around fake. Even if it is transferred to C or S rank, it is not worried. He takes the sword and attacks Guild. He knows that he will be grabbed, but he still does not escape. Rock tries to stop it, shouts that he does not worsen the situation. The cat hides his mouth and offends, says that such as he. They have no right to say something. The cat quit with the sword on Amy and takes it hostages. Rock screams and asks him to stop. He says you can still fix everything. Amy, as a logging, also asks him to stop. The cat does not listen to her. He says he no longer wants to be part of it. Rock asks Amy again because there is still a chance. The cat remains with his mind. The crowd is stepping up and freeing the road forward. The cat holds Amy and goes to the door. He says, "Be careful, otherwise you will become a dinner for monsters." It does not let it go and disappears at the edge of the square. All are surprised. No one knows how it happened. Rock immediately follows him. The cat approaches the square. The lacquer sits near the bound kettle and waves the tail. Amy sits on his knees with his head lowered. Lackey tensed a little and neutralized it. Lackey realized that the cat would not explode through its clock, but this clock was really dangerous. Rock rejoices and thanks Lackey. Thanks to the kit Lackey, it was carefully lost. The guards came and grabbed Kita. They keep it in custody. Rock thanked Lackey once again, now as a real rescuer. He gathered his belongings and returned to the guild to complete everything to the end. Amy bowed her head before the year and apologized for everything that had happened. Rock was surprised. He did not expect such. It hurts that everything went so far. He asks, just stop. Jessak is disappointed. He holds his head with his hands. He understands that there will be no more common team. She returns the year to the group because she has no choice. She hopes that he will resolve. Rock remains gloomy. With a tired voice, he says he will no longer work with these guys. Jessak is angry through this decision. The punishment is coming to the year. She says he knows the true bitterness of betrayal. She carefully hugs him and offers to become her partner. Rock looks at her and says, "How can you say that? You also left me." He does not want to be in a team with those who betray him. The punishment is surprised and disagrees. She shows a finger on Jessak and accuses him of betrayal. Jessak was indignant because even the punishment earlier said that Rock was worthless. Kara admits what she said but did not mean it. Rock was tired of their quarrels. Punishment and Isak pull each other's cheeks. Amy intervenes. She asks if everyone realized what happened in the dungeon. Rock helped the most, but no one wanted to admit it. She shyly admits that it was their fault. Jessak and Punish agree with that. The guys are approached by the guild administrator. She interrupts silence and says it's time to start the test. Rock apologizes for the delay. The river is suitable with a list of tasks in the hands. It proposes to repeat all the conditions again. You need to find out a few details. Their task will begin with the test of level C. Jessak is surprised why the task is so simple. He thinks that the administrator underestimates them because they are S-class. Rock looks at the list and notices something strange. The list of tasks was to collect the eggs of Rainbow Strokes Orange, the scales and the claws of Vinron and the fresh green emeralds. All this should be obtained in a week. At first glance, the task is simple. However, Rock suspects that there is a trick here. Jessak laughs and says that Rock is scared and wants to give up. The document is explicitly written. You need to prove the advantage of force. When Jessak read to the end, he called the administrator and asked for an explanation. The river smiled. She said that if he has a level S, she should not be afraid of this task. Jessak gnewed teeth from annoyance. Rock remained calm. Everything became clear. Guild knows about the allergy of the car to orange, the fear of Amy before demonic insects, and the fact that the green frog causes them a lot of horror. This is a warning from the guild. It will not violate the rules. Jessak murmurs but agrees to work. The river is waiting for the results. The Trinity quarrel and leaves the hall. The river asks the Rock to get acquainted with the adventurer. Rock says Lackey that she is delayed and asks him to rest. The administrator asks that the Rock does not like. He thinks for a short time. He said that he did not endure betrayal and does not like those who do not obey orders. He is responsible for the lives of others. He is not sure whether it is normal, but it seems that this administrator trusts more than visible. She works not just like that. The river is not just a girl on the reception. She has been working as an administrator for 3 years. She knows how to keep everything under control. It has almost never changed over the years. She is all as charming. She says he's no longer young. Rock is nervous. His back is wet with sweat. He is worried about who this mysterious adventurer of the level E. The river says the situation is unusual. She is sure that this girl will not betray and will not rebel. Despite doubt, they agree to meet on the training ground. Their Rock will be able to see her in action. The door opened. Rock saw a girl with a sword in her hands. He looked at her with her eyes wide open. A modest girl stood in front of him. She had a long braid and a bright look. The river introduced it. It's Shannon, she is an elfish. Rock was surprised. She is an E-level of the adventurer and the elf. He saw a slave collar on her neck. The river said Shannon was accepted to the guild because she was a slave and a fighter at the same time. The administrator sadly said that 5 previous owners Shannon were killed in strange circumstances. It was greatly surprised by the year. The cases looked like unhappy. 2 died naturally, 1 died from pressure, the other fell from the break. Another killed the demon. Everything happened with time. The former owner worked with guild. Now Shannon has also become a member of the guild. Rock thought that only failure of all these deaths cannot be blamed. Suddenly, Shannon called herself a dark harvest. She is not looking for death. If Rock does not suit something, it can give up this task. This is only a temporary mission. He still doesn't. Shannon looks at him strictly. She lifts the sword to his throat and says that the weak cannot deal with her. Rock does not seem and asks what will happen if someone does differently. It annoys Shannon. She asks angrily if he really wants to die. Shannon agreed to become a slave because she lost the meaning of life. Rock should not be part of her despair. She burst into tears. She no longer wants to see someone else dies. Rock is confused. The river is sadly looking at Shannon. He asks if she can accept if he is stronger. He reaches the sword, does not want to leave a good girl alone. Shannon looks at him with tears in his eyes. But suddenly she angrily makes him silence. They stand opposite and look into each other's eyes. Rock does not retreat. Shannon squeezes the sword and prepares for battle. She comes and wants him to understand her. Her attack is fast, but Rock has time to dodge. He reflects the blows. The elfin is very fast and has a good technique. Rock suddenly knocks the sword out of Shannon's hands. Her movements are accurate but easy to guess. She falls on her knees. She is angry and rushes to him without weapons. She knocks the sword out of his hands. She does not want to admit defeat. Rock notices that she has good combat training, but the technique is imperfect. He grabs her hand, throws it through himself and puts it on the ground. Shannon twisted in pain. Rock asked if they had already finished. She disagreed. The defeat meant death. He was not going to die just like that. She sobbed and said that everyone promised to survive, but still died. She cannot lose because her life has lost its meaning. Rock did not want to continue. His look became serious. He wanted to show her why he couldn't die. Tears appeared in Shannon's eyes. Rock told her not to be frightened of what she would see. A silver wolf appeared next to him. The huge Fenrir stood in front of the Elfian. She opened her eyes wide and opened her mouth with surprise. The bird that flew nearby suddenly fell on her knees. Lackey proudly swayed and lifted the muzzle up. Shannon couldn't believe her eyes. It looked like a joke. Fenrir was someone's family's. Rock thanked Lackey and stroked him. Shannon did not believe that the guy tamed the legendary Fenrir. She turned because she heard a familiar voice. Someone asked her to wait. It was a boy. Shannon knew him. He followed her again. She stroked him on her head. She laughed. This is her younger brother Seth. He is 5 years less. They grew together in an elven family. They believed that they would live quietly. But suddenly the set disappeared into the forest. Shannon stayed at home with her parents. Daddy went with others to look for Seth. She had to keep the house. Even during the execution of orders, all thoughts were about the younger brother who disappeared. She did not want to sit out of business. She ran into the woods and called Seth, hoping to find it, but there was no Seth. She walked the path and was near the terrible maze. Before her was the Manga house. Shannon scolded and looked around. In this forest, men and elves were once friends. He was called the Forest of Vows. In this forest, there was a Manga mansion. There were only chosen there. Many years have passed, but the building remained the same. Shannon did not believe that time left no trace. If there is no set in the forest, then it is here. She confidently opened the door. Inside was quiet. Everything looked abandoned, but there was no dust. Shannon tried to understand what it was for a place. She went on and called her brother loudly. She did not stop, climbed to the second floor and went into the next room. Opening the door, she saw a platform in the center of the hall. A boy lay on the platform. His eyes were closed. She looked and recognized Seth. She rushed to him. He had a rapid pulse and fragrant breathing. It should be taken home immediately. Near the platform, against the background of bookshelves, the girl saw something unusual. She froze with fear and looked at the black circle with her eye in the middle. They knocked on the door. Shannon turned sharply. She picked up her brother on her back and ran to the door, but the door was closed. The voice came, "Who will remain?" She did not know who to choose. She was frightened, fell to the floor and covered his sat. Trembling, she repeated his name. She had to save him. The black mass with her eye has penetrated her chest. The girl was bending out of pain. Then everything disappeared. I woke up in my bed. Seth was home and smiled as if nothing had happened. I want to believe it was just a terrible dream. After that case, strange things began to happen. The creatures around it gradually disappeared, as if they were dissolving in another dimension. There have been more and more such cases. The whole family gathered. Everyone was upset because the horse disappeared suddenly. Shannon told everything, but she was not believed. They decided that she invented it. The Elfian knew that her family was in danger if she did nothing. She left the village silently. Outside the village, a difficult life awaited her. Subsequently, she got into slavery. She became a slave out of her own desire. Earlier, the man advised her to learn the world. It was her first master. He was kind and gentle. He taught her to count the money. He showed her a real life. Half a year he disappeared. He was gone. She did not believe that it concerned her. 3 months later, the disease took another person. The third man died, falling from the cliff. The fourth housewife drank poison at the desk. The fifth killed the monster. He who was near her died. Therefore, she was called a tin. She was in prison, lonely and convicted, and repeated, "No one should die." She came from the guild because she wanted to prison herself not to harm others. The guild conceives another. The river came to Shannon in the camera and suggested becoming an E-level ally. Shannon was silent. She specifically told her story for people to turn away. Sometimes there was enough words. Sometimes she had to use force. She did not want her to be associated with curse and death. The days passed, then the man appeared. It was Rock. On the first day, she also tried to refuse him, but he took her seriously, not like others. She knew that he was kicked out of S-class, but it did not take his strength or kindness. When they fought, she began to think about it. I remembered how I shouted at him. I asked why he didn't understand what better to get out of this world. But instead of answers, he showed her the reason why she didn't plan to disappear. Fenrir appeared with the glow. It is a silver wolf, formidable and majestic. The wolf lifted his head up. Shannon was standing around and could not believe her eyes. She was accused of death, called a tin. She thought it was better to die, but this desire was only a manifestation of her depressed feelings. She wept and whispered that she still wanted to live here in the city. Maybe you can rely on the year. She wanted to say something but did not have time. She fell to the ground. Rock rushed to her worriedly. Rock approached her and planted carefully. The river said all is well. It's just shock and severe fatigue. Her gaze became calmer, as if she became easier in her soul. The river supported Shannon and led her to rest. Rock looked with a smile after them. Lackey quietly quarreled behind. The dog looked with sadness. He realized that barking on the Elfian was not the best idea. Rock reassured him and said that all was well. Lackey saw a bird lying on the ground. He wondered what Rock would do with her. While the wolf shot, the bird fainted. She soon came to her senses and realized that everything really happened. The bird from the sky wanted to become a friend of the year. Rock was surprised but agreed. New friends are useful. The bird settled in the garden. Rock smiled mentally because the birds become more. Lackey asked what the taste of a new bird. Rock strictly forbade him to taste his friends. Shannon suddenly returned. She held her hand and looked at the floor. Rock approached and asked how she was feeling. She kneeled and apologized. Rock did not hold evil because he knew that she was acting for people. The Elfian confessed that she has little experience, but she sincerely wants to join him. Rock smiles. He is glad to meet Shannon, stretches a fist in a friendly greeting. She smiled easily and responded with a fist. Lackey stretched his paw and said he was glad to meet. Rock mentioned how the dog previously destroyed the monster's materials. He was afraid that Lackey would hurt a new acquaintance, but Shannon only hugged his lacquer paw and laughed. Everything was well with her. The wolf recalled that it was changing. The Elfian is satisfied. Rock scratched his back and realized that he did not trust in vain. Lackey was alert. When he touched Shannon, he felt a strong curse. It's not a joke. The curse sucks vitality from all around. In the end, it will kill Shannon herself. Rock realized that she was telling the truth. He was engulfed by anger. He decided that this force could be broken. This is a very difficult job. Even Fenrir will not help here. Lackey is sure that Rock will handle. Although Rock is now confused, it is not strong in such. Lackey asked for permission and gently took his head into his mouth. Rock froze in shock. He does not understand what this wolf is doing. Suddenly, he realized how to remove the curse. This knowledge appeared. Lackey released him. Rock stood wet from saliva but received a new gift. He thought it was not protection but something steeper. Rock did not know that lackers could do this. Suddenly, they were interrupted. The head of the guild was in front of them. Nearby was an administrator with sad eyes. The head does not allow the year to remove this curse. Rock is surprised. He does not understand why it happened. Titus explained that Shannon is a slave and belongs to the guild. According to their rules, amateurs cannot interfere with the curse of guild workers. Rock explodes. There is no time to speak. You need to act immediately. Titus looks harsh. Emotions are not the path of year. It should not be like Azek. Rock sighs. It was difficult for him. He is tired, but he is still looking for a way out. And what if Shannon does not work in the guild anymore? If you buy it, the curse will no longer be disturbed. The head of the guild initially wanted to give him time to calm down, but I decided to go to the case right away. Rock decided that it was necessary to buy Shannon. Only in this way will he be able to remove the curse without violating the rules. He does not know how to properly buy. Titus smiled and asked how Rock himself understood the meaning of the guild. Rock said she was needed to help adventurers in their lives. Titus agreed, but thought about something else. Titus believes that the guild exists not only for the sake of adventure, it should give happiness. Rock did not understand first. Titus explained that the betrayal of Azek and others was unacceptable. Otherwise, they would be expelled forever, but it would not change anything. He wants to give them a chance. They may be able to see themselves differently. Once upon a time, they thanked the year for helping to pass all the trials. Titus wishes them happiness. He looked at Shannon. Her life was difficult, but she is good and caring. This is similar to this year. Both sacrificed a lot. Perhaps that is why they can be the perfect couple. He does not force them, but it will be glad if Rock helps the girl and Shannon will support the boy. Rock's eyes expanded in surprise. He did not expect someone to understand him so well. It turned out that there are still people who really worry about him. He smiled and turned to Shannon. He asked what she wanted. She was embarrassed. She is a slave and has no right to decide herself. If Rock and all others remain intact, she wants to go with them. Rock smiled wider. He promised to take care of Shannon. He asked the river how much a ransom cost. She said it was a strange coincidence. The amount is equal to the reward for this task. Rock laughed. First you need to remove the curse. Shannon sat on the ground. Rock approached and gave her hand. Lackey, Titus and River stood side by side and looked. Rock said he was starting. The girl closed her eyes. He imposed a spell. A dark substance escaped from Shannon's body. Rock didn't know that it was. Something unknown emerged from the darkness. It grabbed his hand. This creature tried to curse for a year. Rock quickly activated protective magic. It turned out to be difficult. The curse finally disappeared. Rock exhaled with relief. Lackey jumped joyfully. The master did it. Rock was very glad. He thanked Lackey for his help. Everything was done thanks to him. The head of the guild praised Lackey. It was an important achievement. Magins's curse was considered one of the worst. It was created by the founder of the ancient magic school. Titus had only fragmentary information about it. There are only a few similar cases in the world. It was once said that the world was ruled by magic, who is able to control magic. Rock asked to be warned in advance because his heart may not stand. Shannon sincerely thanked the year. She was very much waiting for work. Rock smiled. It seemed that all things were over. It was not necessary to give Ixik and his friends to win. Titus suggested gathering all the necessary things. A new adventure was waiting ahead, but the year was not frightened. The three went to the mini-monster garden to start training. Shannon asked where this garden was. Rock pointed to the wrist bracelet. The garden was inside the bracelet. The girl was surprised. She didn't know that it was possible. It was a joyful and unexpected decision. Shannon looked at the bird that flew under the dome. Rock became friends with this bird earlier. She remembered that heavenly birds were very rare. They can fly high into the sky. Even in the magical world, such creatures are rare. It was also with Fenrir. Shannon calmly said that Rock is a very unusual person. He thought that she apparently considers him a little normal. Lackey fell to the ground and groaned. I was hungry. Rock was also hungry. We wanted to cook something. You could ask for meat in orange ants, but they disappeared. Lackey said the ants built a dungeon under the hut. Rock was surprised. They came to the house and noticed a large pit. The ladders were lowered into the pit, which led down. A girl looked out of the hole. She happily said that Dad was already at home. Shannon asked if ants could look like people. She did not understand why she was called her dad. She doubted that she was an ordinary orange ant. Lackey intervened. He said that in the year there was weakness to such things. Rock explained that he was just near when their eggs had trouble. They just hatched. Shannon could remain silent, but it was not the main thing. Lackey just smiled eagerly. Rock and Lackey were arguing again. Shannon looked at them with surprise. She considered it unfair that they were talking quietly without paying attention to it. She wanted to find out what Lackey wanted to say important. Rock was surprised. Shannon does not understand lackey, but understands the orange ant. The guy grabbed his head. He didn't understand what was happening. The ant spoke with him in human language. She is not like others. It will become the head of the colony. She knows the languages of other races and is able to negotiate. This ability is called Interracial language. Patra decided to pass it on Shannon and copied the language template, but it is unknown whether it will work. The Elfian finally began to understand lacquers. Rock is surprised and does not understand how it happened. Shannon thanked the Patri. There is a lot of unknown in the world. Rock thought that only he could talk to her, but it turned out that Shannon is special. He decided that ants deserve names. He offered the first name Patra. She rejoiced and glowed with happiness. She liked the name. She gladly suggested to give names to others. All orange ants looked at the year with expectations. They were similar to him. Patra said that there are differences between them, but not external. Rock was confused. He jokingly called them as follows: Orange A, B, C, D, and another D. Ants jumped with joy. They liked the news. Rock noticed that every ant has its own character. When he learns more about them, they will give them special names. So far, he asked the pattern to carry out a tour of the dungeons. She showed all the premises. Here is a cold room for meat. There's a dryer. There is a composition where the demonic stones are stored during digging. Rock was surprised. He did not believe that the ants built it so quickly. It seemed incredible to him. This place was like Patra's nest. There was meat. It's time to cook. Patra gladly agreed and offered ice cream. Rock and Shannon returned to the guild. The guy was looking for grill, frying pans, knives, and seasonings. He gathered everything he needed and remembered that they had little kitchenware. Shannon asked what name he would choose for her. There was little time, so Rock decided to make fried chicken. It's fast and delicious. Simple recipe: seasoning meat, fry, serve with cabbage. The Elfian waited for this dish. Rock approached the seller and asked if there was cabbage. The man smiled and said that the cabbage had not been brought. In the near future, it will not. The boys were upset. They wanted to try chicken with cabbage. Suddenly, someone asked in a year whether he was convinced that he could afford entertainment. Rock turned. A familiar team of friends stood in front of him. At first, he did not understand what was happening. One of them asked if Rock could have fun now. He added if Rock knees in front of the Azen, he will be returned to the team. Rock stared at them in surprise. Shannon stood between them and covered the year with her hand. She did not understand what they were talking about. Azek looked at her in surprise. He didn't know who she was. Rock asked Shannon not to interfere. From now on, nothing has remained between him and Azen. He no longer wants to have business with him. Azek smiled and suddenly swung on Shannon. At the same moment, Rock caught him. The fist stops in front of her face. Azek is evil. He mocks the year. He says the guild has conceived something. He was deliberately given a strong partner, but this girl seems weak. He says contemptuously that Shannon is just a junk. It is impossible to work properly with it. Shannon cannot stand. She requires Azek to take his words. She is angry because Rock is not a thing. Azek behaves recklessly and says sharply. He annoys her even more, calling the E-level a dog that weakens from every bark. It is very angry. Clara interrupts him. She asks whether this Elfian is now a new partner of Rock. Rock calmly confirmed that it was his new partner. She, an Elfian with Clara's rank, was a little surprised and came closer to Shannon. She looked carefully at her. Clara looked at Shannon and gently said that her clothes look very tasteless. She said that if Shannon is now in one team, she should take care of her appearance more. Rock interrupted Clara. It doesn't matter to her. Her dresses do not affect strength. He was tired of this attitude. Clara didn't even think that Rock would choose a panel with Irang. He may have made the right decision. Amy approached Shannon. She was sorry for her friends were rude. She introduced herself to the elves. Then Amy turned to the year. Amy bowed low. She said the apology was not enough. She sincerely asks them to forgive them all that they did. She said she thought that Rock had already left the way of the adventure, but now she wants to fight him for the last time to test her strength and solve her further actions. Rock understood everything. They exchanged smiles. Azek was eagerly called by Amy. She wished them good luck. She was sure they needed this luck. The detachment went. Shannon began to worry whether they should go. Rock reassured her. He is sure they can't lose. Shannon looks at him with trust. She understands that it's time to come back. In the garden, he looked at the guilty lacquer. His muzzle was covered with sand. Rock prepared food. He turned the lacquer from the flour. Lackey did not bush. He sincerely wanted to help. Lackey sneezed. A cloud of flour rose around all. Everyone laughed. Meanwhile, Rock finished cooking. A roast chicken lay on the table. Everyone thanked him for this dish. Friends were happy to eat. The chicken was delicious. Lackey and Patra praised Rock for the dish. Rock warned that the food was hot and advised to eat carefully. Shannon also smiled slowly. She really liked it. After lunch, Rock announced a new goal, a journey to the Green Dungeon. Usually the truck goes there for 2 to 3 days. It takes about a week to complete the task. The route is difficult, forest, swamps, and difficult places, but if you go straight, you can go less than a day. Rock noticed that the enemies had turned towards the usual path. If something dangerous begins in the forest, then you cannot meet them. Even the shortest route does not guarantee rest. Rock realizes that the unexpected awaits them. Everyone gathered, things are already packed. It's time to go on the road. They went together and launched about the year. Rock and Shannon sat on the lacquer. Lackey rushed forward through the spaces. As expected from Fenrir, no monster dared to attack. The noise was heard behind. They did not understand what happened, whether it was a trap or someone got into trouble. They said, "Lackey, turn around." In the forest, they saw a creature with wings and horns. She was like a living statue. It was a real Gorgol. She sobbed, seeing the guys. She was silent immediately. This Gorgol was fighting using metal. He was able to control wind magic. Even Fenrir would be difficult with him. Lackey has quenched and reflected the attack. Rock was surprised. This wolf is really strong. He sent magic to the monster. Such magic has become dangerous. Nearby is the capital of Kronk. If Fenrir uses all force, he will not be forgiven. It was late to stop him. Rock is angry. You need to act immediately. He went down to the ground. Rock stood before Gorgol. He spread his hands and called a magical sword. A large magical pyramid appeared. She could not completely stop Fenrir's spell, but if you direct all force to one point, there is still a chance to save the situation. Rock gathered all his power and sent her to Fenrir's magic. He cut the flow of energy in half. The boy is very difficult. He almost gave up. He forces himself to hold on and control the situation. Forces are over. The body does not obey. Everything stopped. Rock breathes heavily and hopes that they have time. Lackey lay on the ground and closed his eyes with his paws. Shannon stood nearby. She was warm and alarmed. Lackey looked up, then closed his eyes again. All were goals. No one was injured. Shannon noticed that something was wrong over the year. His hand was severely injured. He got the potion and drank it immediately. His body was instantly healed. Shannon looked in surprise. The potion was made of a rare ICS apple. Lackey wept and apologized. He did something wrong again, but Rock just smiled. The guy leaned against the wolf and thanked him. The wolf tried to help, and it was important to the guy. He said that Lackey magic is the magic of catastrophe. Now they need to train together and learn to control this force. Lackey howled and wept even louder. He promised to try. Even Gorgol was angry. He looked at the year with surprise and did not understand who he was actually in this form. Gorgol was frightened and shouted. He called Rock Mary. He shouted his teeth, did not want to listen to this creature. But why does he shout in the forest? Gorgol is upset. He was expelled from the Demon Lord army. Rock was surprised that monsters could be released. Gorgol was created from residues. He had weak magic. Because of this, he only cleaned the castle for 100 years. The army's leadership has recently been changed. He was told that they did not need a monster who knows nothing. He walked in despair for a long time. He finally reached the village. The peasants were scared of him. They attacked and he had to flee. Rock thought people are often afraid of demons, but this Gorgol only cleaned the castle. It was his first meeting with people. Gorgol felt bitter. It seemed to him that he was worse than people. This caused the most pain. He thought about the purpose of his life. Rock mentioned that Gorguli is the elite warriors of the Demon Lord army. It takes a lot of magic to create them. It is hard to believe that this Gorgol was made of residues. The guy thought it would be next. He tried to understand what this creature thought of. Gorgol wept again. Rock tried to reassure him and offered to go with them. He is weak and loves cleanliness, but this is not the main thing. The most important thing, he cleaned 100 years. Gorgol was happy. He thanked the year and asked for permission to join the team. A voice came in his head. Gorgol was sealed to become a friend of Rock. Will the guy be able to take him as a friend? Rock wondered whether Gorgol has a hidden force. He only knows that he was created by the previous demon. Everything else is a mystery to him. The guy greeted him again, though he hesitated. In response, he answered welcome. The sealed Gorgol turned into a sacred beast. He became a friend of Year. Now they can explore the garden. Rock decided to expand the hut. Now there is more space. It was a significant achievement. There is a village near us. There should be something interesting here. Friends noticed the cat and were surprised that there was a cabbage field in this muffin. Lackey already lay the glomerulus and fell asleep. It was evening on the street. Rock suggested eating at bedtime. In the morning they went on. Finally, they reached the place that Gorgol said. It was the village of Chishino. At the entrance, they were met by a man who snored. Rock carefully tried to wake him up, but could not. Then Shannon tried herself and put her hand on her shoulder. The man opened his eyes. He saw the girl and said that this real angel came down from heaven. He decided that time to follow her to another world. He was not scared if this sweet girl picks him up. He stretched his lips, trying to kiss her. Lackey noticed the situation and quickly intervened. He saved the girl from a kiss. Seeing others, the old man was frightened and thought it was a bandit. Rock explained that they were travelers who head to the caves, but accidentally learned about this village. They came on time. The man advised to turn to the elder of the village. Rock looked around and noticed that everyone was looking at them. People in the village looked thin and tired. There was no hunger in these parts, but there was not enough food. Some gladly greeted travelers. A good old man stood in front of me. He was named Anagami. He was a local headman. Rock called his name, Shannon, and the holy beast Lackey. Anagami addressed the who slept and said that this dream was useful. He explained that even in a dream, he could recognize events through experience. Anagami boasted that he had just got rid of a stone statue. The man is moved but seems to have vision problems. The peasants began to argue with each other. Rock politely interrupted them. He asked what they wanted to talk about. Men apologized and gave the word old age. A year has passed since Goblin left the garden swamp. After that, everything became worse. The harvest was gone and the village was attacked. The goblins took away food residues. Young men tried to destroy enemies, but lost. The village asked for help. Rock saw how serious everything is. When there are many goblins, they become dangerous. The village asked for help from the state and guild, but without a good reward, no one helped. Rock thought he can't help everyone just like that. It does not make a profit. He wants to become an adventurer. If you help now, the village will ask for help again. They need to learn to survive on their own. The guy asked him to give him a map of the area and information about Goblin. He looked carefully at the map. He analyzed the enemy's position. Rock decided that getting rid of goblins was possible. He mentioned the cabbage beds they saw. This means that the village is not starving. The peasants were happy and thanked. Rock warned, if nothing changes, it would happen again. They will have to ask again for help. In order not to happen to a new trouble, Rock suggested helping to develop the village. In exchange, he asked in the future only 20% of profit when the village becomes prosperous. The headman could not make this decision himself. The consent of the entire community is needed. Now they have another task. If all residents help, Rock agrees to take only 10%. It is only a net profit, a selling minus the cost and work of people. If the village does not agree, they will still destroy the goblins and give food. The peasants discussed the herd lively. Rock was quietly waiting for their decision. The village has an uncomfortable location. It is difficult to get. The fields are neglected. There are no local products. They buy everything from afar. Basic goods are missing. Rock can help for free, but it won't work. The peasants should want to change themselves. The elder asked time to discuss with the community. Shannon asked what would happen next. Rock replied that the village would receive a lot of profit. He believes that they are unlikely to give up. Preparation is better to start in the garden. Rock asked Shannon to say when there would be an old age decision. The elder asked for late. People's thoughts are different. If you do nothing, everything will remain unchanged. He believes that part of the profit should be delayed on unpredictable costs. Rock agreed with that. If the peasants agree to cooperate, the boys will protect them from goblins and take care of food. The village will be safe. New discussions have begun, but the best suggestion of the village will probably not find. Suddenly, a man who did not trust the year came out of the crowd. He was called Warren. He was injured but stubborn. He did not trust the traveler. The elder was indignant. He said that if the guy was not injured, he would cope with the goblins. A few more wounded came to him. Rock climbed into the pocket of the cloak. He took out a bottle of his potion and handed it to Warren. He refused sharply. Rock suggested that Shannon's potion to prove its effectiveness. At first she hesitated, but decided to try. She dropped the bottle and took a sip. Her eyes opened wide. The potion was very tasty. She was surprised. I always thought that healing potions were acidic and unpleasant, but this potion had a delicate and pleasant taste. She felt lightness in the body. Lackey also wanted to try. He opened his mouth. Rock poured him a little. The wolf swallowed and he liked it too. He happily jumped around and said that the potion was refreshing and reassuring. He added that it is delicious. Rock again suggested that Warren try. Warren hesitated, suspecting deception, but still decided to take a sip. He was confused because the pain disappeared. The body has lightness. He was surprised to pour in healing. It is not at all like old and musty medicines. It tastes like fresh apple juice. The taste was sweet-sour, clean and refreshing. He reminded him of his first love. The pain is gone. The leg began to move. It was unusual. Rock noticed that the boys have a different task, but if they help the village, it will give the potion to all the wounded. Warren immediately said that they are glad to accept help if Rock heals them completely. He turned out to be a deputy old age and apologized for distrust. Now they fully support the Rock. The elder turned to the peasants. No one denied. The agreement was signed. Rock suggested having a light snack to celebrate. 6 days remained before the task. He started cooking something delicious. Once cabbage was given to horses, and now it is a real delicacy. Today there will be cabbage soup. Also, cabbage is delicious if fried. While I was cooking, he added a little healing potion. Those who were bad quickly felt better. Rock asked Shannon to help. He advised to take Anson's orange ant to protect the peasants during the collection of materials. She became discouraged and did not believe in her own strength, but Rock was certain that she could even defeat local monsters. The orange anon and would cope on their own, although they are small in height. Shannon promises to help everyone that he can. They plan to make the way straight to the motto. Then travelers will be able to bring products and goods. Rock began to act actively and thus greatly surprised the local. He imposed the magic of strengthening on them. People began to move much faster, but the effect was short. Everyone rejoiced in the feeling of lightness in the body. Rock warned everyone to be careful. Shannon was surprised how easily he strengthened so many people at the same time. He believes that she will be able to do it with the right workout. He promised to teach her, and the girl wanted it very much. He then suggested that everyone start building a road. A little magic will not hurt. All with inspiration came to business. There were a lot of work, so they decided to take a break. The road is already laid out with stone and cleared. If the work continues the same, it will be finished tomorrow. Thanks to magic lacquers, construction moves very quickly. The path was opened and trade will soon begin. Rock's satellites were better than he imagined. Meanwhile, Rock worked in the garden. Shannon brought him a hot drink. The guy thought of tomorrow and advised her to relax. Today she worked more than others, but the girl could not sleep, knowing that he was overloaded. He doesn't like it when she calls him a master. He asks so much to do so. He does not consider her subordinate. Shannon said that he was very good. She is glad to meet him. Rock also smiled. Their paths were not accidental. He told about his plan. Tomorrow the peasants will collect cabbage. The day after tomorrow he will go to sell the goods to the capital. Rock suspects that the city lacks cabbage. He is sure that she will be bought soon, but Rock also remembers the task of a guild that has not yet completed. They will definitely win, but it is even more important in which way they will achieve it. Rock thought about Titus. He noticed that Shannon was already sleeping firmly. In her dream, she said she had a special friend. Rock used magic to clear her thoughts. He sincerely thanked her. All his magical beasts were already sleeping firmly. Rock wanted to leave the house unnoticed. Lackey did not let him do it. He was surprised that the wolf was not sleeping. At night, they planned to catch rainbows because they are easier to catch at night. Lackey mentioned the goblins. Rock believes that the very presence of lacquers restrains goblins in the village. If goblins remain, other adventurers will come and cope with them. Lackey was surprised, but agreed with the decision of a friend. After the meeting, they went hunting. It was interesting to catch rainbow dragons. Everything was successful. The next morning, Rock woke up through noises in the kitchen. He decided that Shannon woke up earlier to cook breakfast. Happy, he went to the kitchen, thanked her and offered to help. In the kitchen, he saw Gargle. Gargle said that everything would be ready in 3 minutes. Rock was surprised. He was sorry that breakfast was not cooking. Gargulia did not understand the reasons for this. Rock quickly said that all was well and once again suggested help, but Gargulia asked him to trust him. Earlier, the demon instructed him to cook for everyone. Rock understood everything. Shannon went into the kitchen and greeted. She immediately apologized that she fell asleep last night. Rock told her not to worry and offered to work together. The girl was happy. She wanted to cook breakfast herself, but Gargulia insisted that he would do it. Rock thanked, though he was a little suspicious. Shannon asked how he was feeling. She thought that Rock went to catch dragons at night. He smiled and said he thought she was sleeping, but he was not alone. Shannon wants to become useful and help. Rock genuinely rejoices and promises to bring her with him next time. She hopes it very much. The breakfast was already ready. Day 2, noon. One of the inhabitants went to the bazaar to sell cabbage and transfer the wings of rainbow dragons to the guild. Rock wanted to know the market price of the crop. He asked the traveler to be careful. Now that the road is ready for lunch, it's time to sell something on the market. Later, Rock wants to teach the inhabitants to catch rainbows in large numbers. If you plow the abandoned fields and plant cabbage there will be no food problems. They did it at night. Rock praised ants. They did a good stone track. Even artisans were surprised. The ants were very pleased. One local resident thanked them. She believed that all the monsters are scary, but she liked these ants. They rejoiced in praise. The elder approached the year. The elder thanked for this day. He doubted that the path to the capital could be gone in 2 days. They agreed to give a year 10% of the village property. Rock agreed and asked to send money through the guild. The old man called him a rescuer and promised to pay the money in a timely manner. Before dawn, they split. Their goal is to find the lake of Orningo and the green emerald of the green frog. The turns could not be obtained, but they will be done later. The next day, Rock felt a strange anticipation. He realized that Isaac would come before he was planned. It worried him. Rock decided that today we need to try to fully. A friendly bird sat on his shoulder. Rock was surprised that a chick appeared in the mini garden. Ant Girl thinks that Dad is wrong. She said it was not just a bird, but a celestial bird. The main character was surprised. He thought heavenly birds should be larger, but the ants said they found a rare eye during the collection of materials. When the bird swallowed it, it became smaller. Rock was not surprised. He decided to wrap the chick on the stone. The baby was happy. Rock said that everything would get well over time. Now they are not threatened. A sharp stench suddenly appeared in the air. It was clear that something was wrong. Rock thought it could smell of varnishes, but he was not sure of it. He thought when he was the last time. Lackey was confused because they were together. The hero saw neither soap nor a towel. After the pause, Lackey said uncertainly that he may have been washing the day yesterday. The attempt failed. Lackey was angry. He always licked himself, even without bathing, but the year did not like it. The hero started operating with fishing and bathing. Everyone was just waiting for this moment. Lackey perceived it as a challenge. He was convinced that no one was catching him. Rock began to speak the spell. He imposed magic of support on all but Lackers. It does not last long, but increases strength and speed. Everyone was happy about this bonus. Lackey confidently told everyone that they were wrong. He is not afraid of magic and does not believe that their strength can harm him. The first was Peter, the Queen of Orange. She rushed forward and attacked the legendary Fenrir. Lackey did not consider her dangerous, especially when she acted alone. But Patrick suddenly threw a spider web. Lackey easily escaped him, but here he noticed how all ants began to move at the same time. He was surrounded. The sticky threads flew from all sides. They entangled his paws. A proud wolf fell. His self-confidence fell with him. Orange again celebrated the victory. It was Petra's plan to make Lackers relax. Rock approached him and asked to behave politely. But Lackey escaped, counterattacked, and tied everyone. Deparable Lackers were the right solution, but keeping it required great magical power. Orange ants were very upset. At this point, Gargulia appeared. The next was Gargulia, the former elite warrior of the army of the demonic lord. His duel with a proud sacred beast, Lackey, became a true duel of honor. Lackey did not believe that rivals had a chance. It is always underestimated. Gargulia was weak but came from a proud kind. He has collected knowledge of 100 years. Rock's support was important. What was despised helped him. One blow of a tail lacquer was enough to defeat the opponent. He is waiting for the next. Shannon enters a circle. She offers sparring. Fenrir is not used to obeying. The Elfian received the blessing of her teacher. Lackey is wondering what she is capable of. Shannon takes the sword. She is the first to attack, but in a moment the lacquer stands behind her back. Fenrir laughs. It cannot be scratched at such a speed. But Shannon does not seem. It applies a lot of punches on the lacquer. It turns out that it has a good sword. Her attacks were chaotic, but now became more accurate. Lackey is no longer sure of their preference. He is in a hopeless situation. He does not understand how she forced him to respect her power. Shannon is satisfied. She asks him to be obedient and go to wash, but something happens unexpectedly. The tip of the tail touches her neck. This is a sign that it is in vain to fight. Shannon lowers his head. Lackey praises her because she was moving well. Daily workouts gave results. The Elfian rejoices in praise. Now the turn of the year. Lackey is preparing for the main battle, clashes with the one who most wants to buy it. The warm-up is over. Lackey is ready for any blow. Suddenly everything has changed. His distraction is a pleasant aroma that felt over his head. heavenly bird with a flower flew above him. In the lacquer, the eyes turned, the body was tired. He fell asleep right now. In a minute, he was already asleep and snoring. Rock recognized the flower. It was a dreamy sapphire. He thanked the heavenly bird. Rock offers to care for lacquers together. Everyone agrees. On the same day, near the dungeon of new lives, Azek is dissatisfied because they had to travel for a long time. He hates Rock, considers him a bad person. A traitor, Amy disagrees. She is sure that they were the first to betray them. It is even more annoyed by Azek. He is angry. Why is someone worried about the carrier of things? He fought on the front line and became a hunter S-rank, but still worrying something. Others were also able to reach this level without it. It will not allow this. Azek is striving for victory to show who is the main one here. Kerk holds orange eggs. Azek immediately refuses to help collect eggs. The rainbow dragon almost disappeared. Amy tries to explain the situation. She says Isek knows about it. You do not need to collect everything. Their main goal is different. Kara does not understand why Azek is so sure of himself, but he does not want to listen to her. It torments it. He takes an order without knowing the details and then simply adding participants to the group. Girls help only because they are forced. After this request, they will leave. Azek is not important. He wants them to execute the assignment. He will then begin to give orders. They approach the destination. The driver says they came. Azek pays and leaves the rest for tea. But this was not enough. The driver drove them closer to the dungeon than others. Without a surcharge, he considers it a waste of time. Azek reluctantly gives the rest of the money. Now this amount should be enough. The driver thanked him and went back. Azek is very angry. He feels that everyone around him is against him. Despite this, it will not stop. Before them, a new dungeon. There are 4 days left before the deadline. The group moves forward. They came to an unknown place full of secrets. Meanwhile, in the other place of the world, everyone is joyfully stroking. Lackey, in the dungeon of new lives, you need to get what is hidden deep inside. They went silently until they stopped. They met Orango. Azek wanted to catch them when they returned. The punishment was scared. Amy remained calm. Azek has not answered. They came to the reservoir. There were no rainbows and green frogs at all. Orano still remained, but Isaac did not find any eggs. He did not imagine how to collect the necessary materials in such conditions. It seemed to him that the guild had just substituted them and did not check the situation. If this is true, the guilt of the guild is obvious. Azek decided to file a complaint on the guild after returning, but his thoughts interrupted the danger. Goblin jumped out of the bushes and attacked him. The sword did not expect such an attack. Goblin paid for his boldness. The punishment came immediately. Azek accuses guild because they did not warn about Goblin. It is irresponsible. The problems continue. A large flock of goblins appeared. Another goblin knight appeared ahead. If there are high-level goblins, it may be their den. Azek wasn't waiting. He rushed to the enemies. Azek decided to attack. The Hoblin Knight has inflicted a strong counter-struggle. Their swords collided. Azek remembered how the guy said they were under the protection of God over the year. Now they felt as if they were getting lost in the sea without a compass. He tightened his teeth with anger. He couldn't believe it. He believed in it. He could not imagine defeat. Suddenly, Goblin pierces the fiery spear. It was a sudden attack. The girls intervene in battle. They worry because the situation becomes very dangerous. Azek grunts that he could handle himself. Kara says the battle was grueling. It became more angry with him. Meanwhile, goblins surrounded a detachment. Amy asks everyone to focus on the enemy. She says you need to break through the ring. The battle became very fierce again, but the Goblin Knight finally fell. Maybe he was a leader. The threat has disappeared for a while. Azek says not to delay and look for an outburst to return to the guild faster. The girls agree, but without much desire. They approach the den. There are many of them here. Azek tells the plan. It distracts the Ute hole. Amy applies magic and harms wings. After that, it will be easier to get. 2 goals are selected. They stand separately from the pack. Amy nods. Azek starts and runs to enemies. The Outs begin to scream. They fly into the air. Everything goes according to plan. Azek gives a signal. Amy shoots fire arrows. They pierce the air and hit the Out. The Outs fall. Azek immediately goes on the offensive. The monsters won. All is well. Azek is ready for the next battle. Suddenly, another outburst sneaks from the back of the girls. His long tail knocks them down. Azek runs to save his girlfriends. Kara accuses him that he did not protect them. She is sure that Rock would not allow it. Her anger is caused by disappointment. Azek is angry with punishment. He says that Rock here could not know about another one. He adds that girls have to be able to protect themselves. The punishment is shocked. This is another person than the one she trusted. The punishment does not believe the words of Azek. She says Amy to go with her. Kara warns that they will not survive with such a leader. Amy is amazed, but trying to stay calm. Azek in despair asks to stay, but the punishment is solid in its decision. She no longer wants to be near him. He looks as they go away. Amy asks the punishment to stay, but does not listen. Azek's eyes become sad. Kara tells her friend that it will be easier for them. Azek is strongly squeezing the sword's hand. He thinks that even she left him. The image of the rock appears in the Azek's head. He remembers the teacher acknowledged that Rock was stronger than him. The teacher was also disappointed by him. All the words mentioned earlier were true. The Terns already surrounded Azek and spread their mouths. Azek, as if losing the mind, says that it will make these creatures defeat. He puts the sword into the ground. It does not allow the year to win. Amy in punishment realize that everything is very bad. Azek calls on the Great Cross. The girls hide behind a rock. A large pillar of fire rises from the ground. The explosion is visible even from the village. Shannon wants to say something of the year, but he already understood everything. This was done by Azek and punishment. Rock suggested Shannon to go with him. She agreed. Others will remain in the village and continue their work. No one was mined. Lackey put great hope. Smoke clubs at the entrance to the dungeon. 3 shapes come out of the dark. One of them is barely standing on their feet. Azek is supported by Amy. He burned all the materials. Everything was destroyed on the evil year. Azek thinks that the guys are not going to handle the task now. Rock is surprised by such a meanness. Shannon proposes to go to the capital and buy the right materials at the bazaar. It is not very honest, but it gives preference. She saw these materials on sale in the city. Rock is sure that there are still some traps. He proposes to inspect the territory near the capital. Azek is satisfied and sends them in search. He is waiting for a new meeting eagerly. Rock is silent. The Rock team finds on the road killed goblins and ducks. They look again at the dungeon. The body of goblin leader lies in front of them. He was the main among the goblins. Now the village does not threaten anything. Lackey is satisfied. He confirmed that everything really broke into dust. Rock acknowledges that Azek has strong magical potential. He has great power. All that could be handed over the guild has already been destroyed. The scales and claws are torn. They were already going to go when Lackey noticed something interesting behind the rocks. These were eggs. They are intact and well hidden. Lackey wants to taste them. Rock proposes to attribute eggs to a mini farm. They return to the village. Local councils that goblins are no longer threatening. Shannon proposes to go to clear the swamp near New Leaves. Rock says that the map is old and the swamps are now dungeons. Shannon is clear. While Azek and his team are handing out the materials to the guild, Rock is engaged in the village. He teaches how to plant cabbage, shows how to catch rainbows. There is a day of departure. Rock is a little excited. He does not understand why the entrance to the village looks like a defensive fortress. Patrick says that thanks to this design, the village will be safe even during the attack of monsters. The elder wants Rock to pay attention. All residents thank the year and bow to him. Now they will obey his advice and develop the village. The village is grateful to the Patri and all the heroes. Now the main treasure is Cabbage. The name of the settlement was changed to Cabbage Casino. Everyone is waiting when they come back. Rock says goodbye to a smile. He is happy. Now it is necessary to deal with the detachment of Azek. They go to the capital mall. They are waiting for the end of the events. To the main city of the kingdom, Christ. In the Rock and Shannon Bazaar, they begin to look for the person they need. One of the victims called them. Rock asks about sales. Cabbage is sold very well. It happened because cabbage rolls were served daily instead of cabbage soup, allowed everyone to try them. The special product was also sold well. Rock made a lot of money. The peasant gives him a share from the sale under the agreement. Rock is happy to success. He proposes to buy a demon Korov for the development of the village. The village is very grateful for the year. Everything they have now has made it possible thanks to him. Preparation is completed. Rock says goodbye to the village. One last step is left. Azek and his team were already waiting for the Rock in the guild. Azek was looking forward. All the necessary materials were already on the table. Rock does not seem to be waiting for it. Azek believed that Rock fled because he did not collect the right one. Rock will not do so. Azek brazenly laughs at him. He is convinced that Rock has nothing. Rock ignores everything and asks whether the materials have been handed over. He wants to solve this issue quickly. Azek thinks that Rock just pretends to be bold and wants to seem steep. The guild begins check. There is a pause. Azek wants to see his opponent kneel and apologize. Rock does not want to upset his opponent, but understands that he has to apologize to another person. Azek does not understand what is happening. The chief manager announces that the Rock team surrendered 20 pairs of wings of rainbow grandmothers, 3 lease eggs, and 15 emeralds. Mr. Year won the competition. The manager says Azek will have no objections. Rock surrendered another 13 scales, 10 claws, 60 wings, 9 eggs, and 45 other materials in advance. Azek began to scratch, striking that he was fighting the monster. Only Rock doubted this. Rock showed evidence. The materials had a seal of Kakasino village. Azek was surprised. Rock thought that after what he saw at the entrance to the dungeon, they did not get the necessary materials. Therefore, he said Shannon that if it is true, he should return to the royal capital. There you need to buy materials and take them to the guild. She saw the necessary materials for sale in the city. Rock thinks that Azek hoped that he would not have all the materials. Azek wanted Rock running to buy what was missing to win. Even then, they had a lot of materials. The things that Azek bought expensive were in fact taking their own stocks. If Azek were not greedy, he would not spend so much money. Azek is angry and insulted because Rock went to the dungeon earlier. Rock explains that they studied the map carefully. There was a hint of a faster but dangerous way directly from the mole to the dungeon. Azek is angry. The punishment interrupted him. She already knew about it. Azek is angry because she has not told him anything before. Kara confidently kept its position. She thought it was not necessary to go through a dangerous forest. Azek does not like this because it is a struggle for the title of Esjoin Adventurers. He tries to defeat him cruelly. Rock seems to be the only one who really wants to win. Azek is viciously compressing his teeth. Rock thanked him for winning the goblins. The goblins worried the peasants of Chaushino. There was no money to pay for the guild. Rock thinks that guild has chosen this task to help the village. It's a good idea. Titus, Kid recognized everything, even a conspiracy with Azen, said the head. It was the end of their group. Azek understood his defeat. He kneeled and bowed to Victor. Victor, this is exactly how they decided. The consideration is over. After interrogation, Isaac and others were punished. Amy in punishment left a friend for harassing Fenrir. They did so because their lives were dangerous. They were reduced to the rank of SR. The S-joint group no longer exists. Kara and Amy suggested that the year create a new team, but he politely refused. They started trusting each other again and created their team. Kita was sentenced to prison. His past crimes are being investigated. The term of prison can extend. Azek was not a slave, but he worked in the mine for 6 months. If he wants to become an adventurer, he will have to start from the beginning. Rock wanted to talk about himself, but his distraction is lackey. Rock didn't think about something special. He just regretted his friends since childhood. Friends grew up together, but they never found out what they really were. It made you think. It was these friends that spoiled his relationship with his family. Now Rock was able to put up with the bitterness of betrayal. Now he trusts his friends and uses power for them. Rock asked Lackey to take on all the things the next day. Lackey asked to trust him. Shannon called all dinners. They solved another problem, stuffed cabbage for dinner this evening. Then Rock did not know that he would soon get into a business that would concern the royal capital. Where did Agra from the royal capital come from? Agra's come, people retreated from the impact of their fists. The situation is getting worse. If so, the lock will be destroyed. One man said that we had to wait for knights. The other disagreed. He thinks that the knights will take away everything. The wounded rested and restored forces. They approached OGR. He raised his hand, getting ready to hit. Suddenly Rock and Lacquer appeared. The wolf caught the blow and grabbed the plowman's hand. Rock apologized to people for late. He explained that he had other things. People have left a hill for him. You can always rely on the year. People left the boy with a wolf and went on a counterattack. The plowman's hand remained in the wolf's mouth. The OGR swept the other hand for a year. Amy came from the back of the plow and used the spell. She saved the rock. A person should not relax. Rock asked Patter to become a leader. She controls people well. Patria divided everyone into groups B, C, and D. Group B with Gorgula. Shannon will fight next to the year. It will apply an auxiliary magic to the reinforcement of the team. It's time to attack everyone. The whole team attacked the plow with weapons and magic. They won one plow together. Fenrir won another plow with one blow. The wolf was bored due to such an attack. It is not a warm-up for him. Lackey is very strong, although Agri is about S-rank. Patter is doing well. She is able to coordinate adventurers and fight the OGRA at the same time. She and Shannon work well together. This is not surprising for the queen ants. Someone smiled. Rock turned and saw a pattern in Gorgle. They attacked the monster. Gorgula used a magical ball of wind on the plow, but she did not work. He was very surprised. Rock mentioned that Gorgle's magic was still sealed. He is unlikely to be able to remove it himself. He has to do something. Help. The team was standing. The enemies were defeated around. The last enemy won. The guys rejoice. They coped. As expected, the Rock team saved the residents of the capital, but Augury rarely appear here. 10 buns that attacked together are unusual. Rock thought to understand what happened. Patra imposed a healing spell on the walls. People thank her for treatment. If they are grateful, the punishment is ready to accept a gift, new clothes. Those to whom she gave her magic remain in her heart. She will probably never change. A group of Imperial Knights on horseback appeared in the capital. The captain of the Imperial Knights, Marcus, thanked the Rock team for his help in the study of Agov. To find out the cause of the attack, the Knights will take the bodies for investigation. Objections are not accepted. Rock and Shannon were surprised. Someone struck the table and called on Marcus. It was the head of the guild. He quarreled the captain for trying to steal the monsters they had just destroyed. Marcus repeated what it was needed for research. Gathering in the capital is unusual and requires investigation. He asked Titus about his past. The guild head was dissatisfied. He believed that the proposed amount was not enough. Marcus said it was a payment for help in the case. This does not apply to trade. The captain of the Knights did not look discolored after the battle. He did not collaborate. Titus grabbed his chest. The adventurers fought and risked their lives. Therefore, Marcus must pay equal compensation. The captain brazenly asked Titus to let him go. He seemed to challenge the knight. Titus was an experienced fighter. They were approached by guild staff and stopped the conversation. The river came with the deputy captain. They started a conversation. Titus regretted that he had intervened. Marcus smiled. Rock went into the office with Patria on his neck. Shannon was standing nearby. Titus immediately said he knew about the situation. If the oppression continues, all adventurers will leave here. Adventurers are important for the development of the country. They are the main line of defense. They help people fight monsters and explore dungeons. The result is fewer victims from monsters. Mysterious objects from the dungeons are bought for strengthening. There are other reasons, but Marcus understands it. Nothing. Rock is surprised. Titus rarely shows emotions. The head of the guild and the knight has a real relationship. Rock and Titus mentioned another assignment. Recently, there have been more theft of magical stones in the capital, called burning stones. There were no witnesses, so it was difficult to investigate these crimes. Titus wants Rock to investigate the case again. The guy hesitated a little. The head of the guild said he fully trusted him. Payment will be given in any case. If he finds the guilty, will receive a bonus. Rock begins to explain how he will do it. He is interrupted by a loud grunt in Shannon's stomach. She is ashamed because they all hear it. Leaving the guild, the team decided to have a little snack and lingered. It was a simple dish from the capital, meat grind on skewers. It is inexpensive, but very tender and greasy. Shannon feels inconvenient because of recent events. The guys and the head of the guild are in an important conversation. She does not need to worry. Rock was just hungry. The boys have already eaten, so it's time to go on. Weapons and equipment lie nearby. The guys went to the weapon and equipment store. His name is Matthias. He learned that many events have happened to the former comrades of Rock. They once laughed at his magic support, but support is the best way to save lives. Rock was surprised that Matthias knew about his divine protection. The seller knows this because he is the owner of the weapon store. Their equipment is not the best. Rock smiled. Matthias asked why the guy came to the store. He noticed ants. Rock replied that he wanted to pick up equipment. The seller saw the crown on Patra's head and realized that she was the queen of orange ants. He then noticed Gargle from the composition of experienced soldiers. He said Rock behaves as usual. Then he allowed the boy to take everything he needed. The team seems to have chosen equipment. Rock asked Shannon and Gargulia if they liked the selected gear. Shannon replied that she was getting used to. Gargulia explained that the main power for her is magic. Rock saw that Patra had chosen staff. She said she wanted to help people magic, like him, but she doubted whether she could use magic. Rock smiled, sat down and put his hand on his head. He has strength, so it's worth trying. They will train the magic together. She's suitable for the King. Rock said Matthias that everything was all ready with the choice of equipment. A stranger came to the store. The owner apologized for the tightness. The man quietly approached Patra behind. He sharply rolled her leg. The ant flew and fell. Rock ran up to check if she was not injured. The stranger annoyedly said that the monsters could not go to the store. He said that Rock an unsuccessful animal tummy and spoiled a calm atmosphere. The foreigner believes that Rock behaves from above because there are several creatures nearby ready to obey his orders. The man smiled and asked who Rock considers himself. He grabbed the pattern. She was quietly written. Rock immediately asked if everything was fine with her. The Queen Murak says that everything is well with her. If it were a real training from a sudden attack and she hit the attacker first, for a wound monster, such a blow is not a problem. The man asks loudly whether they know who is in front of them. None of the team recognized him. Patra thought it was a regular crash. Hargulia decided that she was a guy who loves to offend girls. The stranger called everyone dirty peasants and finally introduced himself. His name is Nisli. He is an aristocrat and will probably become the next head of the Order of Nothing. He said a quarrel with him means a conflict with the whole order. The threats did not affect the year. He calmly demands an apology to the pattern. Nisli stood in Shannon and ordered her to pick up the monsters. The elf, who has lived for many years, knows well what disrespect for the order can end. She was calm but asked sharply, "Are you sure you are acting by law?" Nisli smiled contemptuously and called her an old witch. He said the elves among people were no better. Nisli's words woke a dangerous curiosity in Shannon. Shannon burns in the eyes. She cannot forgive the image of a rock, which was called the vowel of the beasts. The girl quickly gets the sword and stands in front of the boy. Misal decides to study the Zuckfuls right away. She considers it a pest that does not understand words. Her courage is great. She will show him real manners. The man grabs the sword. He is convinced that the Elfian will regret. Another stranger appears behind the wall. His presence is anxiety. The guys look around quickly. Misal sees a stranger. Its appearance makes the atmosphere tense. Everyone feels anxious. The man is nervous. He has sweat on his forehead. The situation came out of control. Misal briefly tells the stranger. As the leader of the Order of the Knights, he apologizes for his subordinate actions and regrets it. Patra remains intact. Fortunately, the Queen of the Ants was not injured. Since Patrick has not been offended, Rock decides to forgive everything this time. The leader of the Order apologizes again and names Rock named. Rock is surprised, because he does not know where this man knows his name. Of course, the leader has known Rock for a long time. In his opinion, only the failures did not hear about the capital's adventure rank S. The leader asks Misal if they have finished the investigation. Misal replies that no. The leader approaches the store owner and asks how often fire stones disappear. The owner says 1 or 2 stones disappear every week. Rock asks if there are any traces of criminals today. The knights could not find out why thieves steal stones. The stones disappear every 2 to 3 days. Previously, they were stolen even more often. The leader asks the year to inform you immediately if useful information appears. It's time to go back to the head office. Knights go forward. Rock and Shannon are drawn to their eyes. Shannon was waiting for the leader to seem more dangerous. If it were not for Titus talking, Rock would have decided that he was a good person. Rock suddenly remembers an important detail. He asks Matteo to show the places where all the fire stones have disappeared. The team needs to gather as much information as possible. The shop owner spends Rock and Matteo to the western door. Theo comes to the table and shows the stone lying on it. The room has 2 entrances. The thief could go unnoticed. Why did the thief take only 1 fire stone? If he wanted to make money, he could steal more expensive weapons. The guy wants to know the true cause of theft. The owner shows a tightly closed chest. No stone disappeared from it. The stones disappeared only from other places. Rock cannot draw conclusions from the data collected. He approaches Matteo and asks for permission to call his families. The families take up a lot of space. The owner agrees. Rock begins the ritual. The wolf comes out of the bracelet. In a tight room, he almost lacks space. Fenrir grunts that he was called to where he is close. He does not hide indignation. Matteo had heard of such a families before, but he only became convinced that he saw him himself. Will Fenrir find a focus on the smell? There are many different scents in the room, so it's difficult. There are many different scents here. Even the wolf is difficult to find the right one. Matteo is surprised that the families can go into the bracelet. He sees how Rock skillfully manages this subject. The owner does not hide his admiration. Theo speaks with Shannon. He recalls that Rock was a little awkward during their first meeting. Theo does not believe that Rock could be like that. The owner wants to tell Shannon something. Rock stops him. He believes that it would be interesting for the girl to know the details. Matteo apologizes to Patrick and wants to make him a gift as a sign of respect. He gives her a backpack made of mithril with her own hands. The backpack is lightweight and very durable. Such a gift will be useful. Rock is surprised that the material is so rare. Weapons of this metal are a symbol of power of kings and aristocrats. Rock doubts whether to take such a valuable gift. Mateo allows him to accept weapons. The family ordered a backpack for her child, but the baby is seriously ill and will not be able to use it. The family allowed the master to dispose of the thing. He was unable to destroy the work done in many days. The master will be grateful if the guys use this thing. The master has already received payment. Rock understands everything and accepts a gift. Mateo wants to change something. He asks to return in a few days. The next day, the orange ants were armed before the Veprev. Rock is surprised. He defeated the great boar with one blow. This beast had a rank B. Ants continue to fight and achieve great success. The guy is satisfied with their fast adaptation. Everyone was able to capture the weapons on the first attempt. He believed that they were used to fighting without weapons. He did not even assume that with the advent of weapons, their combat abilities would grow so. Rock looks carefully at the ants and eagerly awaits the development of events. The boar slavery was over. The new weapon allowed the ants to test themselves in battle. They easily conquered the animals and had no difficulty with their humility. Aunt B, the guy, asks if she hurts after the fight. She quickly shakes her head, denying, and smiles calmly. Patra cheerfully calls him and touches his head. Rock immediately understands everything, squats and gently strokes her shell. Other ants are happily rushing. The team hugs. The guy is confused and hears a strange calling whisper. A stranger's voice says that the holy beast of Vivivert will soon be born. He asks whether Rock wants to become a friend. However, the ants are so cute and strong. A new ally will appear soon, so everyone is watching the eggs and pleasing that the incubation is successful. Rock thanks Heavenly Bird for taking care of eggs. No one expected the chicks to hatch so quickly. Everyone feels good. Lackey is surprised and a little upset. Rock has now made friends with Wyver and can improve 3 objects in this mini mintage. A menu of improvements appears before the eyes. The guy quickly chooses hot springs, a mine, and a banana garden in a mini monstergrad. Hot springs glow on the hills. Bathing in them will give new impressions. In the mine, you can forge weapons and armor with unique ores. The banana garden is open for collection. Rock gladly watches how a mini monstergrad joyfully divides the crop, laughing and singing fun. He says to return to the guild and report on the task. The order concerned the curb of the great Vapora rank B. The company goes on Fenrir. Rock tells Shannon his plan. He wants to cook a giant beast meat and sell other products on the market. He thinks of fur and fangs. Suddenly, his attention is scattered because Lackey hears something strange. A fiery ball hangs above the group. It burns over several wooden crosses. The wolf fits quickly to check this strange phenomenon. The team goes for lacquers. They reach crosses. The balls are gone, it just disappeared. Anxious silence prevails around. Rock carefully examines the terrain. The soil is warm, as if there was a flame recently. There were no visible traces. Shannon feels a weak magical wave. It goes from crosses to the ground. It seems that the ancient charm was left here. Fenrir is quietly growling. The ears are alert. The guy understands that it can be a spell or a new trap for travelers. The team marks this place on the map. They decide to come back here later when they will be better prepared for research. Shannon gently takes the year by the sleeve and speaks in a trembling voice. She is afraid of ghosts, and it is difficult for her to stay here even a minute. Rock gently strokes the girl on the head. He says he is always nearby. If she is scared, she can hide in a mini monster. There is safe. They stand by the grave. The guy lines and reads the inscription on the stone. He notices a sophisticated symbol, carved with respect. The stove is written. The great wise Damboard rests here. The words are calm, as if the earth carefully preserves its memory. Rock recalls the legends in which Damboard was called a great wise. Her name was passed through generations as a symbol of great erudition. According to legend, she went to the castle of the king of demons. She forced the demons to sign a truce. Due to this, the country had many years of rest. Shannon smiles. Even if history is exaggerated, the strength of this woman's character is striking and respecting. The sun sits down, the sky turns purple. It's time to go to the guild and report on the task. They go inside and hear loud complaints. They are heard throughout the hall. Everyone begins to look nervously. The knight Misal is dissatisfied that the reward in the request is small. He doubts if someone will agree to such work. Rock fits to know the details. The knight recognizes in it yesterday's Ucrititor of Beasts and extends him a parchment with a task. The request is asked to clear and check the sewer. They found used fire stones there. Only 30 golden promise for this. Misal believes that this trifle is not important. After all, the future commander of the Holy Knights is waiting for his request to be accepted immediately. He says guild helps the order. He calls the river unnecessary and ugly. People are outraged by these words. The registrar will ask if he really said. The knight with an arrogant smile confirms his abusive words. The river is offended, her face blushes. She holds back anger because she realizes that the quarrel will create problems for everyone in the queue. The administrator smiles kindly. She promises to temporarily place a request on the bulletin board. The final decision leaves behind the guild. The knight was angry with the door and left. He said goodbye that he was indifferent to take the task quickly. Rock advises the river not to sharpen the conflict. He proposes to draw conclusions because such clashes only increase tension and spoil the business atmosphere. He reads the conditions of the request carefully. He thinks whether to take a dangerous sewer for a small salary. It is looking for the best option. The first steps in sewage accompanies a sharp stench. The boys cover their nose with their palms. Somewhere near this smell are used fire stones. Rock imposes cleaning sorcery on the wet walls. Greenish symbols flash. This is not enough to get undeniable evidence of theft. Shannon goes on. She hopes to find new traces of thieves. Shannon wants to know more about the disappearance of stones. The floor is slippery from silt and mold. Every step here needs caution. Inattention can lead to a fall into a stinking puddle. The girl wants to show her skill and is strongly moving forward. Suddenly, her soul slides. It tilts sharply to dark water. The guy quickly reacts and saves the partner. He picks it up with strong hands, lifts over stinking water, and puts in a safe place. Sincere Vera Shannon in his own strength causes a warm smile. Rock knows that excessive self-confidence often leads to adventurers. In the darkness, their eyes meet. They thank each other and remind each other. It is easier to overcome all the difficulties together. Mutual support is stronger than any magic. The night is approaching. The group decides to return to avoid danger in the dark and have time to rest after a long mission. Rock proposes to go to hot springs. Shannon's eyes glow with the expectations of warmth and rest. At the camp, a surprise awaits everyone. Vivavert's kids already grow up to almost 2 meters. Gorgulia with a heavenly bird constantly trained them to fly. The guy is surprised that the Gorgulia stone can fly. He understands that large wings are needed not for beauty, but for real maneuvers in the air. The monster confidently says that 2 people can carry. Rock asks to fly around the fortress to make sure. The guy approaches Shannon and talks about a plan of short trip to thermal furnaces. She thinks of a joint flight, and her heart beats faster. It is enough to give a sign, and Gorgulia straightens his wings. The couple sits on his back, preparing to travel over the roofs of the night city. Under the wing of the monster, the stone quarters quickly retreat. The year looks at the world from above and feels the greatness of this moment. The lanterns flash and form a lace of light. Shannon shakes his breath and admires this beauty. Far streets look like a rug of light. Rock thinks how to show this beauty to others and share night inspiration. When the trip ends, the guy thanks Gorguli for his help. He knows that creating can rarely be useful outside of battle. The monster rejoices because he understands his importance. He proved that he could help. Now he is waiting for new tasks with his friends. Gorguli do not need to worry about fighting. Rock appreciates her for the ability to wash, cook, and lift them into the sky. This makes it an indispensable ally. She dreams of getting rid of Age-Old, but is afraid to lose herself and become empty, like a stone. Rock proposes to wait for the wyvern to become stronger and then fly together. Gorgulia rejoices in this idea more than your favorite ice cream. The guy dreams of a flying families who could carry lacquers. Gorgulu mentions an old friend, a great and strong fingerboard, who will gladly help. She advises to visit the stamp after the mission is completed. She believes that the stamp will become another reliable member of the team. It's time to return to the camp. There are hot springs. They will help to wash away the fatigue of the day and give a peaceful rest at night. Orange ants are the first to jump into warm water. They lift the fountain splash. The spectacle is captivated and laughed by Shannon. She did not expect such a friendly font. Rock Lackey and Fenrir dive after. The wolf does not like ordinary baths, but the space and depth of sources allow him to hide even the tail underwater. Fenrir is grateful to the year for saving him from a burning dungeon. Now he lies in warmth and grows happy, almost completely hiding his head. Rock squeezes his fist in his paw. He knows that he would be ashes without support. A short ritual shows their dedication no worse than solemn promises. After bathing, Gorgulia shows a hidden cave with shimmering. The company is awakened by the breath of the beauty of minerals that shine in the dark. The next morning, Patra puts on a mithril bib. Silver metal shines in the sun and suits its fragile physique. Rock sincerely thanks Mateo for a valuable gift. The master says that the forging of children's crusts for ants has become an unexpected creative elaboration for him. He used little material, so he advises not to worry about costs. Instead, he asks to check the armor in battle to understand its convenience. Mateo expelled the little Kyras for all ants. He hoped that the brilliant shells would lift the morale of warriors. Patrick confidently drives the antenna and promises to test the armor in the next workout. Rock feels a strange union of man and insects. Lackey jokingly asks if he gets a mithril collar. Mateo laughs and says that at first Lackey should learn obedience and steel discipline. Friends laugh and accept a new challenge. They are awaited with a stamp and a possible danger that hunts for fire stones. Rock makes a route through mountain passes. The stamps nest high above the clouds. Gorgulia unfolds the map and draws imaginary airways. The team goes to bed in a warm evening silence. It smells like needles. The first stars appear above the heads. They shall herald a new adventure day. Rock gives Mateo a tight bag. He explains that this is not a payment for the armor. It is a thank you for the skill, a good heart, and a skillful blacksmith's arms that enlivens metal. If the master refuses, the money will go either children or adventurers without money, who will need a strong shell for a dangerous raid with dark huts. Mateo realizes that he almost offended the boy with his pride. His forced smile changes to a sincere and grateful look. Rock jokes that these coins have remained since he was in the rank of SS. The master smiles, puts a bag in a deep drawer, and promises to use the coins wisely. Friends are waiting for the blacksmith to complete the bundles, but suddenly the blacksmith sounds. In his voice, there was anxiety as if something happened in the forge. He saw a sharp blue glow by the window. Fire stones have disappeared again. The trace is still hot, like a heat in the blacksmith. Rock whistles and gives a lacquer team. He instructs the wolf to grasp the fresh smell and find the trail a trace until the stones are mixed with the urban smells of sulfur and smoke. Other allies depart to the mini garden of monsters. They remain alert to become an army of wings, poisons, claws, and ant lists at the first call. The guy sits on the wolf, and together they quickly run through the paved streets. He is surprised as the thief was able to escape so quietly. There was neither broken glass nor a scream of guards. They go to the cemetery. In the pale moon stands Damward's grave. Here the smell suddenly disappears, as if to cut it off with an ancient sword. Rock inspects the stove, does not find scratches and jokes about ghosts that stole the warehouses. He is interrupted by a sharp whistle of wings in night silence. A celestial bird appears in front of them. In his beak he holds the flower of exorcism. Gold dust will pour out of its wings. Dust falls on the ground and awakens a weak echo of hidden witchcraft. The tombstone appears aglow and cuts a mine with stairs in the stone. Rock realizes that it is life magic. It can open the aisles in basalt. The insidious illusion is almost knocking down the seeker from the panther. He acknowledges that he has not seen such power. The tunnel is too narrow for mighty lacquer. The wolf grunts but promises to come to the first call, despite the distance. The guy touches his muzzle and thanks quietly for his loyalty. Rock creates a ball of light that accelerates the darkness of the stairs. He thinks that the enemy hid the stolen crystals somewhere below to go unnoticed. It slowly enters a narrow passage. The air here is hot and smells of minerals. It seems that the earth itself is breathing in the heat of stolen artifacts. The ceiling expands and opens the hall. Their sparks glow like fireflies in the dark. The glare moves on the walls of black basalt. The crystalline altar flashes in the center. It was covered with fragments of empty stones. The rock heart beats in unison with the pulse of the underground magic network. He compresses the amulet of light. He understands that the true threat arises when all stones are collected together for a dark ritual. A large hall opens under the tombstone. An unknown voice is amazed at the appearance of an uninvited guest. Ancient magic is shimmering around, and bone columns stand. The skeleton comes out of the darkness in an old dress. In his sockets, the cold lights glow. Rock fades because a legendary wise man appears in front of him. She considers Rock a powerful magician and calmly asks why he came. Rock thinks whether it is truly degenerate Damboard. The wings of the Lolly fairy appear nearby. She immediately notices the weapon of the guest. Lala is ready to defend her owner and radiates a threatening glow. Damboard calmly says Lolly's not rush into battle. He explains that true power is peace and mind. Rock says that he was pursuing a thief who was stealing fire stones. The smelling should lead him to this underground crypt under the sacred grave. Lala begins to be nervous because the suspicion falls on her. She is hastily apologized for possible misunderstandings. Her voice trembles with excitement. The fairy was looking for stones outside the dungeon because there were none in the hall. The unauthorized actions of the fairy irritate the wise with more than silence and dust in the hall. Damboard admits that she also needs these crystals. Only their throbbing energy supports the destroyed ritual which she once made with the demons. Rock is looking for a reason. Damboard remembers the old duel with the owner of the demons. The power of wine and the willpower was resolved there. She even drunk the Abyss Leader and entered into a peace agreement. But now without stones, it is almost impossible to overcome the effects of that ritual. Even the strongest demon could not compare with its endurance. The victory was expensive for her. Now the soul of the wise is connected with unstable flames. Each missing stone weakens the seal. If the crystals find themselves in other people's hands, the ancient truce will disappear, and a new war will begin. Lala is asked to understand their despair. They only try to support the action of the seal. She acknowledges that theft could have caused dangerous consequences. Rock thinks if the fairy is really guilty, perhaps a real thief just uses this situation to quarrel with people and forgotten defenders. The boy's amulet is flickering, responding to his emotions. The guy understands what to make the choice: help the wise with keeping the seal or exposing a mysterious manipulator. He proposes to return the stones first to make the ritual stable, then find someone who violated the peace of the peace treaty. Damboard is barely gnawed with a bonehead, agreeing to cooperate. He uses magical runes and opens a secret way out into a narrow tunnel leading to the far outskirts. Lala feels guilty, but promises to go with the year and lacquers to prove their intentions. Her wings glow blue from hope. A new search stage begins. Heroes are a skeleton, a fairy, and a wolf. Together, they confront an unknown enemy who plays the fire of ancient agreements and risks destroying the world. The demons sighed. They did not begin the war. The conflict arose when people cut down the forests and plowed the hills. The monster lost food in safe places. The monsters were left without food. They tried to win the land to feed. They did not have experience in agriculture, so the crop often died. Dalmord suggested teaching demons to sow and reap. It only demanded that the fighting stop. Both sides fulfilled their promises honestly. When everyone ate, the creatures calmed down. The war ended as the fire fades. There is only a memory and a chance to live in peace. While it was quiet, the wise man studied nutrition. She was approached by a girl with clear eyes who wanted to learn and find a mentor. The student was called Lydia. She had no magical power, but was marked by kindness, honesty, and could easily communicate with people. Dalmord had previously lost in conversations without a mug of wine. The girl was able to talk well, and she liked it. Dalmord revealed the alchemical secrets of the fields for her. They made an extract that accelerated grain growth. Lydia rejoiced because fewer workers in the field meant the end of famine faster. Lydia mentions the hidden treasures of the catacombs. Their energy can help grow future crops if it is safe to use. She suggested involving the runny nose in the fields. The dead do not eat or get tired. Therefore, this plan seemed profitable and intelligent. Dalmord once practiced necromantium and has almost succeeded. She stopped because she realized that this force could be dangerous to the army. The army of the lively dead could change the world balance. This would cause a new arms race and bloody fighting for power over the dead. After the pause, Lydia said she did not see the threat. In peacetime, famine does not concern the strong world. The scientific breakthrough will make her name immortal. She wanted to surpass her mentor, dreamed of losing history. Therefore, agricultural experiments seemed too small for true glory. Dalmord tried to restrain the ambitions of the student. She knew that the path to the grandeur related to death leads to tragedies and despair. Lydia was angry. She was convinced that without the risk of not reaching the peaks of science, to delay, in her opinion, means to betray your dream. In her eyes there was an alarming glitter. She was ready to prove her correctness, even if it was necessary to disturb the peace of the dead in the dungeons. Silence prevailed between two generations of researchers. Their aspirations have parted in different directions and no longer intersect. Rock and Lala stood away. They felt that peace between everyone was very fragile. Any careless word could destroy everything. Dalmord realized that it was necessary to choose, either to stop dangerous experiments immediately or to allow them to break free and start a new war. Lydia disappeared with Dalmord's manuscript about necromantium. For many years, the wise man searched for her in the Empire, but could not return the famous student. The searches did not give anything. Its magic penetrated into the ground and revived the bone silhouette under the necropolis. Ancient light of runes appeared there. Becoming a servant, Dalmord felt great. She had to restrain Manu and create new halls under the grave with the help of cold ones. She made catacombs invisible with illusions. She resumed experiments. Now she tests everything on herself. Dalmord wanted to prevent the plans of Lydia. Without external energy, her bone body is weakening. He needed at least a drop of mana. There were no magical stones. The wise man has taken a slow extinction, but a random meeting with the fairy returned her forgotten hope. Lala met a skeleton that said, at first she was scared, then she realized that she was a good wise. Lala began to ask her many questions. Dalmord saw that the wing was bent. She said it did not spoil the beauty. The bones also do not interfere with the outstanding personality. The fairy confessed that it is often called the monster. The wise words helped her overcome the complex and feel confidence. Dalmord joked, if the wing of the wing is terrible, then her skeleton should scare everyone and bring to the loss of consciousness. Girlfriends told their stories. Lala remembered the legend of the great wise. She realized that she sees her, life in the bone. The fairy wanted to master real magic, and the figure was looking for an assistant to support the seal, so their goals united. Dalmord said she wanted to create an elixir to stabilize non-life. She wants to save herself and stop the ambitions of Lydia when she returns. Lala wanted to help. She dreamed of proving other fairies that even a broken wing could fly higher if you believe in itself. In the silence of the catacomb appeared a duo of skeleton and fairy. They were united by fear of the death of the world and a common desire to save it. Dalmord taught Lala alchemistry. The fairy in response brought the sequins of semolina. They partially replaced rare magical crystals. The underground laboratory garden was filled with flasks, fireflies, and manuscripts. They were written by an old wise man with a trembling hand. Dalmord was concerned that Lydia had stolen knowledge. She was preparing a protective spell that could curb the army of the undead. Lala has promised to be a diplomat between people, demons and fairies, to prevent a new war because of someone's thirst for glory. In the dark catacombs, sympathy appeared. The skeleton and fairy, with a broken wing, dream of a world that will save from oblivion. So both lonely souls found true friendship for the first time. She warmed them harder than the fire and combined their hearts, despite the fact that one had bones and the other wings. After learning that the girlfriend would soon disappear, Lala decided to return the magic stone to save her. Dalmord explained that this is why she became a thief that could not be seen. The fairy confessed that she stole a fire stone. She is ready to accept any punishment to save a new girlfriend from oblivion. Lala admits everything, but Dalmord does not allow her to take guilt. He reminds that she was ordered, so responsibility lies with her. Girlfriends argue. Lala claims that she acted. She convinces the rock that does not know Dalmord. Lala thinks that this will help save the teacher from severe punishment. Dalmord asks Lala not to risk the sake of the one who will soon die, but Lala refuses to retreat because it is her first and most expensive girlfriend. Watching the scene, Rock realizes that theft of magic can lead to death. He becomes scary because of such a severe punishment. He is amazed at the choice of Dalmord. She could escape, but she remained and seeks to atone for the guilt. Lala also did not run away and separates this burden. Rock records the fact of robbery of the store and violation of order in the order. Lala confesses to theft from the store, but does not know about the composition of knights. The guy is surprised that they do not know about the mass disappearance of stones from the treasury of knights. The fairy brought only one crystal and did not know about the great robbery. Rock analyzes tracks and realizes that Lala spent her last stone. This means that the real big thief still remains in the shade. Dalmord agrees with this guess. All three realize that there is another theft somewhere. He may want to break the seal and start an old war. Suddenly, a loud hum and a crack that sounds under the vault is heard from the tunnel. Friends are wary of these sounds and feel the danger. They run to the surface and see the pillars of smoke above the capital. The flame covers the roofs. Far cries to hear through the night wind. Rock quickly jumps on the back of the lacquer. He goes to the city gate. He hopes to stop chaos until the fire destroyed the stone maze of the streets. Dalmord coughs with bone dust and asks to take it with him. She says that although weak, she knows old spells that can protect the inhabitants from the greatest fears. The streets of the capital were filled with terrible monsters. Panicked people run to the western gate. There, as if the lighthouse, the sword of a lone warrior glitters. The stranger manages the flow of refugees and leads them to a safe passage. His confident movements support fugitives and give them hope. He cuts another monster with one strong blow. The blood flies and quickly burns in the fire. Only dark spots remain on the pavement. Rock understands, before him either an ally or an enemy. He squeezes the sword's arms and waits for their meeting to turn. The knight has difficult to breathe the air soaked in the smoke of the capital. He tried to even out his breath after rapid rescue. The monster jumped out of the flame, knocking him down. The heavy body of the beast cracked stones on the pavement. The guild administrator appeared with a big hammer. She rejected the monster and helped the boy get up. He thanked her. Rock and Lackey came to the square. They jumped on a balustrade near the river. Rock immediately asked the situation. The trophy monster of the night suddenly became an undead. They started killing people right in the city. When the knights themselves exported the bodies of monsters, many adventurers left the capital. Because of this, there was a lack of people for defense. The guild has sent requests for help to neighboring countries. The reinforcement has not yet arrived. there are already many non-free predators on the streets. While Rock was collecting data, the monster surrounded the girl. The river hurried to the rescue and broke the ring of enemies with the blow of a meteorial hammer. Dalmord explained that the heir of the undead appeared through the records of Lydia. She used fiery stones as nuclei that feed the decomposed mono. Lydia controls mass theft of crystals. She conducted prohibited experiments and filled the bodies with an endless heat. Rock silently summoned all his monsters except Vivavert. He ordered the destruction of enemies and handed over command to the elders. He fell silent when he saw an orca with a twisted sign of Lydia on his shoulder. He realized that it was only the front of her dark horde. Dalmord used the magic of hellish diamond. Burning runes illuminated the night. The attendees froze, impressed with her strength. Rock introduced friends to the new ally in Fairy Lala. He explained that although Dalmord has a bone appearance, she is a reliable associate. The wise man barely held the skull in her hands. It was exhausted due to the loss of mana. She urgently needs clean crystals so as not to crumble on powder. Patra quickly gave a dozen shiny stones. Their glow was reflected in empty eyes and filled the skeleton with light. Dalmord said she would lift the sacred barrier over the kingdom and destroy the runny nose with light when the ritual completes. It takes time to spell. Rock promised to restrain enemies. The team ran through the streets and prepared for battle. Lala was flying over the roofs and scattering the fake dust, which dazzled enemies. Fenrir and ants fought with monsters in narrow lanes. During the battle, Dalmord painted runes in the sky. The capital was waiting for dawn to find out if it could stand against the night of the inanimate. Rock, Fenrir, Gorgulia, and orange ants destroy the runny nose. The blades and claws shine in the dark. The area is covered with sparks and fragments of bones of fallen monsters. The ants wring the shells from grip. Rock warns of danger. The dead body moves and restore the joints with magical flames. It turns out that even Shannon and experienced adventurers cannot kill these creatures. Only families with the sacred spark of the year can destroy their ominous essence. The guy asks Shannon to pass the order to the defenders. They should support its beasts. Every sword blow should shine and clean the meat of rotten mana. Rock skill gives allies to the strength of holiness. The blades, spears, and fists leave bright scars on the body. The enemy cannot be resurrected after such a blow. The horizon has a real chance to win. Adventurers and families work together and destroy monsters until the bodies of enemies become cold ashes. Most monsters have already dissolved in gray gunpowder. A few more waves move from the side streets. They spin and rake the fragments of the gate with jaws. The Order of the Night arrives in the capital. Rock asks in surprise why the help was delayed. Knights are silent and stand like puppets. The commander looks glass. In the light of the torches, his pupils look empty. They tremble a purple alarm. Suddenly, the knights shoot arrows. Fenrir jumps forward. His wool looks like a dragon's scales, and he protects everyone, reflecting the arrows. Magic wolf fur reflects steel. The arrows fall on the pavement. Only a few scratches are visible on a shiny brown shell. Rock is surprised because the knights had to be allies, but their faces are empty, as if they are managing them. He sees the red light in the captain's eyes. He understands that the detachment under the control of the enemy. Immediately, the order is erected to destroy everyone ahead. Rock decides not to kill enemies. He orders them to stun. Gorgulia lifts a storm. A wave of strong wind throws knights. Enchanted warriors stand up and take meadows. They seem to overcome the pain and show unusual endurance in the storm. The guy gets the sword. The hot blade buzzes in the air. He is preparing for a new attack. The guy watches not to injure any knight who gets lost. Miss Lee appears behind with the raised sword and preparing to hit the enemy. Patra intercepts her blow and stuns the enemy with a wooden stamp. The queen's anthers warn not to lose vigilance, because even one mistake will create a hole in defense and allow the dark power to reach civilians. Rock looks at Lee, in his eyes sadness and determination. They understand that it is necessary to remove the curse, not just cut off their heads. Otherwise, the rescued bodies will remain empty. Above the roofs, the roar of the ritual storm Dalmord is heard. The sacred runes glow with gold. Knights kneel in silence, between life and a danger that stands behind. Micelle holds the cheek after a strong slap. Rock notes that the darkness in the knight's look has already disappeared. Rock inspects the team. He sees that the warriors gradually come to their senses. Magical blows are no longer enough. Required a real physical rupture to remove the magic. He quickly explains the plan. It is necessary to stun the captive magic with simple strokes. Give them the opportunity to regain control of the body and will until the situation worse. The river is not yet oriented, but Rock briefly explains. The capital is attacked by the army of the undead. The Order of the Night came under the influence of an unknown enemy. Rock orders the knights to evacuate peaceful. Micelle refuses. His honor requires to fight on the front line and to punish those who harm people. The hero rushes to the big orca, bends the sword in his back. Only scratches remain on the back. The orc beats and rejects the knight. Micelle falls on the pavement. The orc lifts heavy fists and is preparing to hit. The crowd fades and follows his movement. Patra, the queen of the ants, jumps between the enemy and the wounded. It takes a strong blow to the shell and does not allow the beast to crush the knight. Rock runs to Patra because he knows that a double blow can kill even a rank warrior. He gets a couple of daggers to distract the enemy. The blades cut the air. The orc retains. He crosses his palms over his head and collects force to hit the top down. Patra has not yet understood what was happening. The orc screams loudly and beats his hands into the ground. A stone wave breaks out of his hands. The pavement cracks. The fragments fly in different directions. The stones fall hail and threaten the wounded knights. They try to get up after a brief clarification of consciousness. Rock repels the pattern sideways and reflects the fragments with their blades. He feels responsible, understanding that each step determines who will survive in this chaos. Fenrir grows. It strains the paws to pull the orc and give the warriors a break. Ants form a defensive ring around the missile. Gorgulia flies into the air. It is preparing to create a strong wind to overthrow the giant and open a place for the attack. The punch of the orc creates an underground hum. The light from the barrier downward in the sky resembles that time is playing against the undead. It is necessary to stay a little more. Shannon manages adventurers. Some fight the fascinated knights, others protect civilians. It puts in order in chaos and organizes salvation. Rock notices a red glare in the eyes of several soldiers. This is a sign that Lydia will not let go of control. The stunning plan must be continued. Patra, with cracks in the shell, rises. She compresses the staff and prepares for battle, because retreat means the death of defenseless behind. The pavement moves from the next blow. The goal is to keep the pressure, break the magic, and wait for dawn, which will destroy the darkness of the undead. The gap beats huge fists. The pavement cracks. The earth flies to the sides. Where Patra stood, there is a deep blade. Rock hears a roar, looks around and sees the monster's stones at the same place. His heart shrinks with horror. I remember the smiling queen of ants, our workouts and warm embrace. Fear covers me and squeezes my throat. The guy falls around among the debris. His voice trembles from despair. He calls the Patris among the dust and noise of the battle. A creature descends from heaven. She keeps the pattern in his mouth. Her wings tremble under moonlight. Fenrir calls the rock and returns him to his senses. The queen is alive. She cries, but Fenrir holds it between the fangs. She was rescued by a young vivivert. The dragonflies have grown quickly and now fly over the battlefield like lightning. Gorgulia explains that for dragons, rapid growth is the norm. Rock jokes that this is his ability to care for the beasts well. The defenders thank the winged babies. Their rapid attack left the plowmen with nothing and inspired the hope of exhausted fighters. Shannon is reminiscent of a crowd of warfare that is still raging behind. Rock quickly gives Patria a bottle of thick healing elixir. Drops fall on the shell. The girl feels a rush of strength. She orders the ants to jump on the back of Vivivert and fly into the celestial bench. A crowd of orange soldiers becomes a detachment of small knights. They fly the sky with shiny spears and cut the night smoke. The final cleaning of the undead begins. The field is buzzing from the beating of the wings, a deck of swords, and a crack of the bones of the dead army. Rock feels that someone is behind. He evades the sudden blow to the sword. The blade slides on his hair and sparks. The attacker is a Marcus who is obsessed with his ambitions. The commander is angry because Rock stands in his way to power in the order. In the eyes of the knight burns restrained hatred. Today he plans to destroy adventurers and their guild. He wants to erase them from the memory of his sword of dark glory. Marcus throws a few sharp blows. Rock slides with paving stones, looking for a moment for counterattack. He tries not to kill the enemy. Two masters compete in the burning capital. Each blow rattles in the night silence and sparks. Patra and ant-riding riders circle over them. They are looking for a chance to intervene, but Rock gesture orders not to interfere to keep their reserve. The fate of the Order of the Night is now deciding, to release the knight from the curse or let him fall with a dark banner and extinct conscience. Marcus struck his leg in his stomach. Then he rejected a year back like an unnecessary bag. His power was great. He shouted and pulled Marcus to the center of battle. Marcus thought that the guy really considers them desirable guests. It's strange, but wherever they go, Titus is always nearby. He is the chief adventurer. Marcus is the king and head of the knightly order. No one can doubt his authority. No matter how others treat him, he is convinced that the country needs one order. Rock stands near the wall, it hurts, and he wants to stop this game. If the boys interfere, Marcus will not stop. It can destroy them. Marcus rushes again for the year. Suddenly, the lacquer runs up. He knocks Marcus off his feet and requires silence. Marcus falls hard on drawers. The wolf grunts dissatisfied because he was just awakened. Shannon is worried about the state of the year. Rock says that everything is well with him, but he worries for Marcus. He begins to move and shrugs something. It looks suspicious and scares. Rock is amazed where the tail hit. Captain's behavior seems suspicious. Marcus smiles slowly. His smile seems ominous, as if something else had woke up in it. He believes that it is inappropriate now. Adventurers never take care of anything. His voice changes sharply. Rock looks at him suspiciously and asks who is now in Marcus's body. In response, an evil look and angry confession. Lydia is the first student of the sage Damorta, the heir to his will. Rock wants to know what she wants. Lydia squeezes his fists and promises to answer him before destroying him. She wants everyone to learn about her treasure's strength. For this purpose, the country will be a victim. Even the death of the boys will not stop her. Their bodies will be used after death. It's not her idea. Damorta began the study first, but Lydia finished him, so he considers his work. Rock thought that Lydia stole burning stones. She just smiled. She liked that the guy understood everything. She took over the body of the head of the Order of the Night and stole them. Searching for the perpetrator, she managed him as a puppet. Lydia decided to complete the conversation. She ordered the knights and the undead to destroy everyone and everything. Ares laughed, but something went wrong. She did not understand why everyone was still alive. The warriors were supposed to die, but the runny nose was unconscious. Shannon thought where Lydia's body is now. The smell of lacquers will not be able to find it. At this point, someone came and apologized. It was a Damort. She was ready to destroy all inanimate, but they were gone for a long time. She looked silently at a bunch of dead bodies. She sat down, hugged her knees, was tired and sad. She wanted only a mug of beer. Rock carefully approached her. Now the most important thing was to find the right path. Damorta knew where to find Lydia. She planned to show them this place. She tried to reassure them and repeated them, "Don't worry." But these words sounded one by one, as if her consciousness was stuck on the repetition. The boys were standing by the mysterious tower. The moon shone over them. Silence prevailed around. They were ready to become the owners of Lydia. Rock ordered everyone but Shannon and Patrick to stay in the Garden of Monsters. He went to the massive door himself. Damorta said the entrance elsewhere. She took advantage of male magic. They opened a huge pass disguised as illusion. The stairs descended deep underground. The boys began to go down. The smell of rot was felt in the air. Damorta did not understand how Lydia had lived for over 100 years. She thought the body of Lydia should be in a terrible state. A young girl with a book in her hands appeared in front of them. She slowly turned, noticing the guests. She is surprised that they were able to get so far away. Outwardly, they had to stop the army of the undead. She does not understand how they managed to break through. Rock calmly said that they had won everyone. The Order of the Night was completely defeated. Lydia only crumbled. She perceived these words as a bad joke. Damorta was greeted with Lydia, but Lydia did not recognize her. Lydia said she never wrote such a story and was objective. Damorta used a long-standing spell and caused a hellish diamond to refresh her memory. Lydia immediately applied the magic of the water dragon. The dragon squeezed, and his rick drowned and extinguished the flames. Lydia finally realized that her Damorta, inside it was rage. She thought Damorta became undead to spoil her glory. She just shook her head sadly. Lydia could achieve more if she had a better character. Lydia is angry and uses the magic of eternal darkness against Damort. Damorta also uses the power of a dark knight. Lydia is very bold, but she is still a baby. Their magic faces and create a flow of energy. The guys look in surprise. Their forces are the same. Lydia is very evil. She became stronger than Damorta's death. Patrick is ready to act. At this point, the Queen of Ants appears. She quickly goes to Lydia. He comes up, nods, and beats Lydia with a rod on his face. It falls on the floor. It is difficult for her to fight alone. Patra looks at her with contempt and is quietly giggling. She almost died because of Lydia. For the first time, Rock sees her so evil. Lydia became more angry. She created many shadow copies of herself. A sinister smile appeared on her face. She was sure that no one would find where real. But Patrick accurately hit the rod in true Lydia. Illusions do not work on the Queen Ants. She does not perceive Lydia at all and easily distinguishes her from copies. Patra angrily says that if Lydia dies, Dad will suffer greatly. She will not let her father miss, but Lydia does not understand what it is about. Rock looked at the pattern with anxious. She wanted to attack Lydia again, but Damorta stopped her. Damorta apologized and asked to leave Lydia. She wanted to talk to her herself. Patras smiled and went back. Damorta said calmly, Lydia was over. They lived too long. She started spelling. It was a sacred magic. She seemed to want to destroy herself with the enemy. Rock and Shannon were amazed. The holy magic will disappear completely, along with the undead. But this is the only way to destroy all evil, Damorta said Lydia had to take with him. Pixie quickly flew to Damort. She did not want Damorta to disappear. She was happy to see her again. The space illuminated the flash of light. At this point, Rock used magic and sent it directly to the target. Lydia has a void in the chest. She fell to the floor. She did not understand how he used such magic without transformation. Damorta apologized. She said that it was not necessary to risk yourself for the sake of the liquor. Lydia didn't think she would need to fight such a strong magician. She was close to victory over Damort. She promised to return and become even more powerful. Damorta realized that it was only a shadow of Lydia, not her real life. There was no point in sacrifice for the sake of illusion. She suddenly reacted too emotionally. Rock at this time slept calmly. Lalo approached her, hugged and thanked the heavens. She rejoiced that Damorta had not disappeared. Damorta apologized to the pixie that made her worry. She said they would still have to say goodbye soon. Magic stones are over. Stolen stones cannot be used. It's even for the better. Lala suggests that Rock may share with them, but Damorta does not want to bother him anymore. Pixie does not want to say goodbye at all. Meanwhile, Rock reached out to Damorta and suggested that her be a partner. If she agrees, he will be able to take as many magical stones as he wants. She still had to resolve the issue with Lydia. Shannon hesitated whether it was possible to entrust the domestication of a member of the dark race, but Rock believed that only he possesses sacred magic. In the worst case, it can destroy it. Damorta was directly asked if she agreed to such risks. She smiled. If there is at least a little hope, it agrees to this agreement. Above it, the Queen of Darkness wants to be friends with the year, but there is one condition. Since it belongs to the dark race, its dark magic will become weaker, but she will not disappear anymore. Damorta agrees to these conditions. She trusts the year. Rock begins to read the spell. The Queen of Darkness passed the ritual and became his sacred beast. Now she is his partner. The year saw many new opportunities. He decided to work on a salt craft and chose a small sea. The Garden of Monsters is getting bigger. Rock looked at Lala and thought that it would be with her, and Pixie was very glad. Now she serves the Queen of Darkness. She also became a rock. The guy laughed. From now on, she can answer his questions. It was approached by the human form of Damort. She thanked the year and asked to take care of her. Rock smiled gently in response. This meeting was also important for him. The detachment returned to the capital. The inhabitants cleared the fragments of the destroyed road. Rock told the boys to help rebuild the city. He went to the guild himself to submit a report on the task. He immediately met Rico in the guild. They went into the office together. There were already Titus and Marcus. They stood silently with hands crossed on the chest. The room became tense. The meeting should be serious. The guests sat at the table opposite each other. Rock asked what had happened. Rico congratulated the beasts. The room prevailed atmosphere. The air in the room was getting harder. Marcus and Guildmaster Tyrone sat at the table. Rock remembered how recently they shouted at each other. Therefore, it was difficult for him to believe in this silence. He asked Rico what had happened. Rico says that all is well. The door knocks. Rico advises not to open. Rock hesitates but still opens the door. Marcus stands in front of him. He immediately apologizes that he was worried about the rock, although he was busy. He knees and sincerely apologizes. He almost crippled the rock because of his own incompetence. Rock is surprised because everything is over. He asks the captain to lift his head. Asks what happened. Marcus says she remembers nothing. He thinks that it all started half a year ago, after meeting with a girl named L.A. During the training, she appeared herself. It happened for the first time, but Marcus felt as if he knew her all her life. There was a sweet aroma in the air. It may have been a potion or a spell that had occurred to it. She ordered the knights to collect the bodies of strong monsters for the development of the country. She said adventurers are interfering with, and Titus is a source of evil. The order believed her. Since then, they have taken away the bodies of strong monsters. They wanted to expel all adventurers from the country. Marcus apologizes to Titus and Guild. He sincerely regrets. Titus and Rock are silent, impressed with his words. Titus does not believe his eyes. The proud Marcus bowed his head in front of him. Guildmaster got up. He apologizes to knights. I reached out to Marcus and promised to do my best to reassure adventurers. I proposed to combine efforts to rebuild. Marcus agreed. He hopes for successful cooperation. Men shook their hands. Now the Order of the Night will cooperate with the Guild. Guild also began to look for Lydia, but it was more difficult to find it than expected. Marcus became the leader of the Order and should be responsible, but now the king has decided to restore the city. Suddenly, someone reported another bad news. Bad news, the former hero fled. He disappeared during the battle with the undead. No one knows if he did it intentionally. The month has passed. Above the sea again heard joyful exclamations. Rock, along with the partners, rest near the water. They lay in the sun and enjoyed silence. Shannon was delighted. The sea fascinated it. Rock looked at her with a gentle surprise. He remembered what she was when they met. Now she became more confident and jokes more. In this all the merit belonged to the year. Shannon thanked him for the salvation. The guy was confused. Lackey apologized to interrupted and asked why they were here at sea. In the last days they rebuilt the city. Patrons and others organized the work well. The change of situation was very appropriate. They all deserve a vacation and a delicious barbecue. Patra didn't even know what a barbecue was. Rock explained that barbecue is the preparation of meat and vegetables outdoors. He suggested eating together. Patra loves kebabs and dreams of always going with the year. The serious will be spoken later. Now it's time to enjoy delicious food. The appetite boys began to eat meat and vegetables. Meanwhile, the bird sat on the head of the year. He remembered that he had not yet named it. I joked and offered the name Yakter. The bird screamed immediately and started waving its wings. The barbecue accurately affects her mood. Rock listed the names of Japanese chicken dishes. The bird was indignant. She did not like these options at all. Then the guy offered another name, Villages. The bird waved her wings. She liked this name. Since then it has been called Villages. A girl with a plate came to the year. The meat was very soft and delicious. He did not immediately recognize this person. In front of him stood a Damorna in the form of a skeleton. They were by the sea and she created the illusion to be like a person. Thanks to magical stones, she was able to walk the city. But her body is only an illusion, and a real body is only a frame. How does she eat? At such moments, you do not need to pay attention to the details. It is better to feel the mood. Lala asked Rock about his sauce. He prepared a special dish of onions, ginger, and apples. The aroma was gentle and pleasant. Pixie never ate such and rejoiced that they met a year. Lala waited impatiently when he prepared a new dish. Pixie was already bored, so Rock decided to have a snack. The partners rested on the beach. The girls played the ball. Orange ants were happily swimming in the water created by Damorta magic. Rock eaten the meat eagerly, then sat on a stone and threw a fishing rod. Lackey got up. The wolf asked what Rock was doing. Rock explained, if you hang a hook with a bait on the thread, then the fish will eat it. Lackey became interested and decided to try himself. He lowered the tail into the water as a fishing rod. There was no bait. The wolf thought his fluffy tail would be so attracted to fish. The boys sat on the shore and waited for the fish to be. It was quiet and nice on the street. Sometimes it is better to relax. Lackey curled with a ball. Rock was sitting and thinking about his. Such moments are very valuable. Suddenly, something started to move near the lacquer. He caught something. It is necessary to quickly pull the tail. The wolf sharply pulled the tail. At its end, something hung. Rock opened his eyes wide. He tried to see. It was a small creature. It seems to fall in love with a fluffy tail. There was a mermaid in front of them. Rock and Lackey were surprised. The creature kept the wolf's tail and did not let it go. They didn't know what to do. The mermaid seemed safe. The boys decided to bring her back to the sea. Lackey began to move his tail in different directions. The mermaid did not keep up. She enjoyed a soft tail. Lackey did not give up. He carefully waved his tail and tried to lose her. Fenrir intervened. He used magic and blinded the mermaid. Lackey finally dropped it back into the water. Other partners ran up when hearing a loud sound. They were worried. Rock tried to reassure them, but it is at this moment. The mermaid jumped out of the sea again. She had a predatory glitter in her eyes. She rushed to the fluffy lacquer tail. The mermaid again got out of the water and grabbed the lacquer by the tail. The wolf was angry. Shannon was surprised when she saw a mermaid. Lackey promised to no longer hold back, but the mermaid stopped unexpectedly. She said a creature was not suspicious. She just wanted to touch this furry happiness. The wolf again used magic and threw it back into the sea. The boys were worried because everything looked suspicious. The mermaid reappeared on the surface. She sailed to the fluffy tail again. She holds his paws. Lackey asks for help in the ear. Rock thinks of what to do. Damorta raised her hand and asked for permission to say something. She said the spell. A large magical sphere appeared in the sky. Damorta gave the mermaids a choice, to stay and die or return to the sea with honor. The mermaids were surprised. They hoped for another from terrestrial people. people wanted to divorce them by force. The mermaid did not plan to give up. She called Levi. A huge sea dragon climbed from the sea. Everyone froze with surprise. They were the most powerful being of the Sea Kingdom. The mermaid introduced Leviathan as the king of the ocean. She ordered him to show his strength. Leviathan coiled, nodded, and politely named his name. He was pleased to meet the year. Shannon and Rock were surprised by the polite tone. They carefully responded to greetings. The mermaid did not understand what was happening. She wanted Leviathan to fight with Terrestrial, otherwise he would not be with a furry, but the Sea King said that you just need to talk. The mermaid was angry. She thought that land could only be made friends after a fight. Leviathan was surprised. She convinced the Sea King to show some of her power. He agreed reluctantly. Leviathan used magic. The water began to twist in a few bonds. The water was rising up. It was a storm of water dragon, but in soft form. The magic of the dragon was very strong, almost like Fenrir. For Damorda, it looked like an amazing sight. The Damorda, in the form of a skeleton, decided to show its true strength. She was preparing to call Antiga's spirits with illusory magic. Seeing her, Leviathan was frightened and quickly turned back to the sea. The Sea King is afraid of monks and ghosts. The mermaid thought that Damorda did it specifically, knowing his fear. In fact, Damorda knew nothing. Nobody even guessed about it. It didn't matter. The mermaid acknowledged the defeat and suggested friendship. Rock politely refused. She did not understand the refusal because she considered them comrades after sharing. Rock was indignant that it was not. The mermaid was lost. If this continues, she will no longer go for help to go to the village. Rock was surprised to ask what the village it was in mind. The mermaid reminded him that he already had Gorgulia out and orange hair. She said that the village of Ruzalok was in trouble. She came to ask for help. No one understood the danger of it. The mermaid lowered her head. She hesitated and did not know how to say the main thing. Leviathan came out of the water again. He asked to let him explain everything on his own. The king said that there was a village of Ruzalov on the bottom of the sea. 3 days ago, fishermen attacked. These are creatures that are half people and half fish, squid or shark. They have more fish features than human ones. The mermaids are dominated by human traits, so these are different species. 100 years the village lived calmly. Almost no one had combat experience here. The sudden attack of enemies has led to the fact that many mermaids were captured. Leviathan had to be their defender, but did not live up. He confessed that he was not strong in battles. The mermaid May was not in the village then, so she remained intact. She went for help with people on the surface. Leviathan also asked for help. Rock scratched his back. It was moved by this story, but he did not understand how they would fight underwater if they could not breathe. Leviathan dispelled his doubts. He brought with him air grass. If you eat this plant, you can breathe underwater. The water pressure will not hurt. Rock did not know about such a plant. It turned out that it was collected only in the village of Mermaid. If Rock helps to liberate the village of Mermaid, it will be able to pick up any amount of air grass. The guy immediately said that he did not want to be dangerous, but Patra sincerely asked him to help. Shannon joined the request. The guard nodded silently. They were also not mind. If everyone is serious, they are ready to go together. May was glad that the boys agreed to help. She was glad that she could now hug the lackey tail as much as he wanted, but as soon as she touched the tail, the wolf immediately pushed her. The boys stood on the shore and looked into the water where the mermaid flew. They decided finally they will help her. Everyone plunged underwater. Rock was surprised to feel the effect of air grass. He could breathe underwater. He did not interfere with the pressure. To move underwater is a little harder. It will be harder to fight here. At this point, he ran past him. They were beautiful and fast. Underwater, these creatures also waved their wings. Hargulia moved quickly thanks to the wind. Rock also decided to try. He focused and swam. Lackey was unable to learn to swim. It was 2 for a wolf. All except Hargulai temporarily went to the Garden of Monsters by order of Raoul. The boys swam to the cave. She led to the village of Ruzalok. May sailed the first. Others tried not to keep up. Rock plunged into the cave after her. There he was struck by something bright. Before him appeared a real underwater village of Ruzalok. It was covered with magic, so it was not visible externally. People did not come here for hundreds of years. May thinks that for a year it should be an honor. The boys did not have time to see. Leviathan wrapped their tail and warned, "Quieter, someone is approaching." In the water, a creature with the body and head of the shark floated, but with hands and legs. It was a real predator. It was a fisherman. He was one of the patrolmen. Other mermaids apparently are kept in the Queen Castle in the center of the village. Leviathan saw them there when they ran. Rock wanted to attack straight, but the Sea King suggested going to the castle through a secret tunnel. To get here, a conductor was required, but the mermaid May suddenly disappeared. She quickly came out of the cave. She ordered the fishery to release everyone immediately. She demanded to meet her. May boasted that she fought over the year, but the fisherman did not listen. He immediately attacked her, angry with her interference with their plans. Everything could end tragically, but Leviathan had time. He picked up May and asked what she was doing. The mermaid said she would not act as a coward, but there is no time to talk. Another fisherman came from behind. Rock realized that they had noticed them. If so, you need to break. The boys are preparing for battle. The fisherman was moving quickly. Rock did not keep up with him underwater. Hargulia came to the rescue. The guy jumped on her back. With the magic of the wind, they rushed forward. Hargulia shouted, "Attack." Rock struck a fist in his head. He fell. Everyone rejoiced because there were 6 more enemies ahead. But the first enemy was already climbing. The blow did not work properly. The fisherman got up and swayed out of his anger. He quickly circled around the guys. Rock quickly assessed the situation and advised Garguli to move 50 centimeters to the right. The fisherman flew past at high speed. Hargulia could not understand how it happened. I shift 70 centimeters to the left. The enemy does not hit again. It moves the same every time. Rock noticed something strange in his eyes. They were like knights under hypnosis. He did not know who did it, but he saw that the enemy could not focus. This means that boys can counterattack. Gargulia sharply retreated diagonally for 3 meters to the left. Rock jumped sharply to the left and escaped the blow. He jumped on the fishing. Rock ordered Leviathan to tie the enemy by the tentacles. Leviathan obediently fulfilled the order. The tentacles were removable. The boys tied the fishing to the rock. Fishermen could not see and speak. Leviathan mentioned that earlier these creatures could be communicated. He wondered who was behind it. The boys have to hurry and save others. They were able to neutralize a few more fisheries. These were the guards who were once in the village. No one expected them to be so little. May shouted to Leviathan. It turned out that he also tied it, but he did it intentionally. If she acted herself, there would be more problems. Leviathan unleashed her. May got out and quickly went to other mermaids. They were happy when they saw that she was alive. One of the girls ran up and hugged her. She had tears in her eyes. Rock noticed that the tears of the mermaid became shiny crystals. These were pearl tears. These are special gems. They appear in mermaids with strong magic when they feel strong emotions. The mermaid returned to the rock and called Madeline, a kid of the queen. She thanked the boys for salvation. Rock was worried because not everyone was released. The queen and many mermaids are still captured in the village of Rybaludov. This place was only a temporary camp. Cannot be delayed. It's time to go to others. But Madeline stopped him and stretched a small object. Rock accepted the gift and realized that it was a pearl. The mermaid gave it on behalf of all the villagers as a thanksgiving. She had another little request. Rock immediately agreed to help. The next stop is the village of Rybaludov. There were many enemies. Rock looked around and noticed something. It was a human ship. Why is it among fishermen? A man stood on the deck. He spoke with the fisherman about something suspicious. The fisherman he spoke to the man was able to talk. It may have been their leader. Shannon called Rock and showed up. There was a girl in the cage. She had her mouth and hands tied. She was captured. It looked like fishermen were governed by people. Rock thought they were selling mermaids. The animals are surprised. Mermaids are sold. The guys do not believe the eyes. The ship is sailing. You need to act now. Leviathan agreed to help if some of the captives remain on the ship. It is better to follow him to a secret base, then release everyone with other mermaids. Rock called a bird of villages and ordered to follow the ship. She had to find where the ship was hiding. The bird listened carefully to the order and immediately flew. You should also save those who are kept in the village of fishing. The released mermaids arrived. They asked permission to monitor the guard. Last time the attack was unexpected. Now the mermaids are ready to defend themselves. This is their honor and they want to solve it on their own, but there are too many fish, so it's dangerous. Lackey and Damorta showed a bracelet. They explained that through this mermaid bracelets, the boys' battle should be entrusted. Lackey with a smile said that in the Garden of the Monsters, they came up with something new. He really wanted to show the result. Rock did not deny but hesitated because it was a difficult task. Damorta and Lackey asked him to trust them. He agreed because he trusted them, but Madeline sailed closer. She doubted that the boys would handle on their own. Leviathan told her that these two could even be stronger than the king. The mermaid did not believe it. She still didn't know who these strange guys were. It's time to go. Lackey and Damorta went to custody. As soon as they stepped on the ground, guards gathered around. Damorta said loudly. Now you will see the true strength of our tandem. Lackey activated the spell. Magical circles appeared around. The air is dark. Lackey released strong energy around him. The magical circles lit up even brighter. Damorta joined the spell. She used the magic of expansion. The wolf became stronger. The sea retreated and opened the ground underwater. It was a scene worthy of legends. The fishermen fell and weakened. They moved slowly. It was a chance for guys. It is necessary to quickly neutralize the guard. Rock noticed that mermaids were also stationary. Like fishing, they could not act without water. Rock ordered anyone who could move, help others. The guy put his sleeves and started working. He twisted the fishermen one by one. Another came out of the cave. He was evil and dangerous. He was able to speak. He asked in surprise what happened here. Rock thought it was a leader. He demanded to release the captive mermaids immediately. He just crumbled. He didn't understand what was happening. He got a strange sphere and smiled ominously. The fisherman squeezed the sphere and ordered his subordinates to show his strength and destroy enemies. Their bodies were shocked by energy. They again rushed to the attack, becoming even stronger. Lackey grabbed one of them and easily threw away. They became stronger but moved slowly. They were no longer a real threat. Seeing this, the leader ordered him to give him all the magic and the power of fishermen. His body began to grow rapidly. He grew up very large, became a real marine titan. He said he is now moving several times faster. Then he boasted the magical sphere. While he is invincible. Rock calmly asked what was the sphere. The leader was ready to show her strength. Suddenly, Patra quickly flew past and immediately grabbed the sphere from his hands. The fisherman did not understand what had happened. He turned and saw that the sphere was already in the paws of ants. The ant quickly came to the year and said that she had seized the sphere. Rock praised her. The leader finally realized what had happened. He tried to stop her, but too late. Rock approached the Damorta and held the sphere. Damorta felt a familiar magic. It was like the one used by Lydia. Lydia took part of Damorta's research. Now she will be able to cope with it. The leader did not calm down. He demanded that his sphere immediately return. Damorta reassured the year and said that it should not be afraid. Suddenly, the sphere slipped out of her hands and fell on a big rock. There was a death crash. The sphere began to crack. Damorta did not understand what happened. The leader moaned and dropped to his knees with despair. Damorta tried to reassure him. She said that nothing wrong, there would be another sphere. But in the soul she understood that for him it was the last hope. The boys tied the leader and started interrogation. His name is Pedro, but they did not understand why he ruled the fishery and attacked mermaids. Pedro said he wanted to show his value. He is from the shark tribe but was kicked out. I noticed fishermen. In their tribe, the power of magic depends on the size of the fin. He had too small. A few days ago he had no place to hide, so he sat under the moon. Suddenly, a strange woman in black came to him. The saleswoman said she wanted to help. She gave him a magical sphere. Rock thought it was Lydia. Pedro did not understand everything, but remembered the main thing. If you hold the sphere in the hand of a sleeping fishing fish can be controlled. He began to control the mermaids. The mermaids were angry. His attacks were cruel. Pedro confessed. In exchange for the sphere, he was ordered to attack the village of Mermaid. He had to convey the traitor. He was humiliated, but he became a selfish. It was evident that Pedro regrets, but he had a reason. He really wanted to prove his importance. The mermaids were dissatisfied. Rock thought, where did those whom he had passed disappeared? Pedro was not sure. He suggested that the captive mermaids were taken to Brandon. Rock lifted the sphere and handed it to the Damorta. It may still be investigated. She reassured the guy. The analysis will take a little time, but it is possible. She sat in front of Pedro and kept the sphere in her hands. She regretted fishing, but said that such a weak force would only hurt him. Now he must prove his value himself. If he really changes, everyone will forget about the broken sphere. After that, the detachment went to Brandon. The port city of Brandon. The boys looked at the outskirts. Somewhere here they hid the prisoners of mermaids. Leviathan remained in the sea with mermaids that could not be reincarnated. He did not need to attract attention. Madeline and May could become people. Not all mermaids have this ability. They only use it for shopping in the city. Their clothes dry quickly. After storms or pirate attacks, the fragments of ships and valuables remain at the bottom of the sea. The village of villages returned. She sat on the shoulder of the year and said she found a secret hiding place. It's time to act. She led the group to the target. She was surprised that the city was not guarded. Rock decided to go for intelligence himself. The girls are left to wait in place. He approached the building. The door was open. The guy thought that the security was negligent. He entered. Amazing sounds were heard from everywhere. Rock looked around and noticed many cells with different creatures. He looked carefully and noticed that some creatures looked unnatural. There was a magical circle on the floor. It was probably a seal for magic merger. He found himself in a laboratory where horrible experiments on monsters were conducted. He knocked on the glass and said he wanted to help. The mermaids looked in surprise. The glass was very thick, they did not hear his words. Rock climbed into the aquarium and tried to open the lid with a knife. But the attempts were in vain. The castle protected not only mechanics but also magic. Suddenly, someone called him from behind. One of the monsters in the cage called a year. He said he knew where to find the key. It was Drackle. He was a descendant of the dragon gods and their leader's grandson. He was seized when he slept. He woke up in a cage. He suggested an agreement. If Rock releases it, he would tell where the key is. There was no time to hesitate. Rock agreed but set the condition. First, you need to release mermaids. He opened the aquarium with a key. He said he had sent him. The mermaids thanked him. They immediately asked if everyone had already been released. One of them said that the queen was taken to the auction. Rock was shocked and was angry because of this news. He closed his face with his hand. In such establishments, the strictest security, mermaids that can change the appearance should run. Unfortunately, there were no those who could become a person. All remained in danger. Rock called Gargle and Shannon. As he promised, he gave the Drabble key. The dragon asked the guy's name when he released. Rock called. Drackle promised to thank him later. When they saw, as it came out, the fishermen also began to ask for help. They were also in cages because they could not be controlled. Because of this, the pursuers decided to sell them. Rock regretted them and agreed to help if they promised not to attack mermaids. He released those monsters with whom he was able to make contact. After that, everyone gathered again. It was necessary to find the queen. Lackey felt her smell. Everyone followed him. The mermaids also sought to help save their ruler. Rock and Shannon were surprised when May said that the queen was her mother. It turned out that May really princess, though it looks different. May wanted to help regardless of her status. Rock agreed, but said she had to obey him. The mermaid scolded. She did not like such an agreement. Rock turned to Madeline. He asked to cook gold. As a last resort, you will have to buy a queen. Lassie led them to a large building. It was the scent of the queen. She was inside. It seems that the queen has not yet entered the auction hall. Rock decided to look at all around. Lackey and May have left to wait outside. The mermaid wanted to go with him, but remembered the condition, apologized, and stayed. Rock promised to find her mother. May trusted him and asked to take care of the queen. He opened the door and went. He was met by a tired man. The man greeted sluggishly. The room smelled unpleasant. Rock closed his nose with his hand, greeted and asked about the sale of special monsters. The man, when patting in the nose, said that the guy was not ordinary. Rock scolded, got a few notes, and put it on the table. The seller smiled and covered the money with his hand. It became clear that it was necessary to follow him. On the way, he asked what monsters were interested in Rock. There are different monsters here, both humanoids and merged monsters. He reported good news. Yesterday, they were brought to a very rare creature. He is sure that it will interest the guy. Rock realized that it was a mermaid he was looking for. A man in the hood passed by him. Rock stopped and looked after him. The stranger smelled of rot, but it was a girl with a chicken in her hands. The seller also wrinkled his nose. The smell was strong. The seller did not pay attention to him. The girl under the hood held something sharp in her hands. She quickly came to the year and looked into his eyes. Her look was bright. She radiated anxiety. The mission of penetration could have failed. The witch asked sharply whether Rock was familiar with Lydia. He said no. The witch repeated the question again. Rock did not change the answer. She looked around as if she did not believe her eyes. I came back to the door. She felt something like the magic of Lydia, but perhaps it was just an imagination. I apologized for the intervention. She became angry with the door and came out. Rock asked who it was. The assistant said it was a sorcerer Riza. It works here and creates magical objects. There is little known about it. If she knows Lydia, you should be careful. The assistant opened other doors and invited the Rock to come. In a glass flask with water, he saw the Queen of Mermaids. She was planned to sell at auction. It's May's mother, Rock thought. The assistant said that this woman is even more beautiful than the other mermaids that were here. Rock asked about the price. The assistant answered 300 millions of rents. Rock was surprised at that price. The man explained, mermaids are able to fight, they are difficult to catch. If it is a queen, the cost becomes clear. And even this money may not help, because there is already a buyer. Gris is the son of the richest merchant in the city. He was used to buying everything he wants when spending millions on his tights. Subsequently, he throws everything like all the women he bought. This man is a real freak. The assistant advised the year to temporarily retreat. They will say that there will soon be a lot of mermaids for sale and the price will decrease. Then you can buy cheaper. Rock doesn't give up. He wants to take part in the auction. He has something to offer. He reached out the money. The assistant thanked and said that the auction would be 6 days at 6 in the evening. Rock came out of the building and joined the friends who were waiting for him. May immediately began to ask because she was worried about her mother. Rock reassured her, all is well with the queen, but in 6 days she will be auctioned. May wanted to save her mother immediately, but Rock stopped her. Here is a strong protective magic. It is impossible to penetrate. The guy said it was necessary to save not only the queen, but also other creatures. He stressed that it should be done peacefully. Now he wants to talk to the guards about illegal trade in slaves. The team saw that the guard had grabbed a monster. It was Drake. Rock was surprised why he was detained again. Drake was evil because the guards ignore the warehouses with the slaves. He also told about fused monsters. He is not trusted because he is semi-human. The guards are silent. One of them said he did not believe in his version. He explained that the warehouse belongs to the Chad. Chad is not capable of such an abomination. Chad buys and sells slaves, but that does not mean that he is a bad person. He opened the distribution and rehabilitation center. Chad has done a lot for the city. The year realized that the child sells people into slavery. He hides it in good deeds. Drake insists on a fair investigation. Otherwise, the guards took a bribe from the child. The guard was angry. He does not like that the semi-human behaves so. The guards are angry. They want Drac to regret every word. It becomes clear that they all have to do with children. Thanks to Drakel, Rock is fully aware of the extent of conspiracy. Drakel should be saved. Rock wants to talk to everyone about further actions. He tells his friends what he learned. The Chad merchant runs the whole city. He is not arrested without evidence. Due to the involvement of the Queen and Gris, the situation has become more difficult. The victory will be difficult. A different approach is required. Rock asks everyone to know more about children. The team split. Everyone went to seek evidence. Rock gathered information and concluded Chad is the one they saw before. The opponent is strong. However, most locals consider children a benefactor. But some people hated him very much. Someone accused him of abduction of women and daughters. Others said he created his own army of monsters to capture the city. If this is true, Gris is also deeply involved. Someone wants a lot. In the lacquer grunts in the abdomen. He is hungry. Shannon laughs. She is also hungry, apologizes but can't endure. Rock smiles and says he has detained everyone. He proposes to dine. The team agrees. When asked what to cook for dinner, Rock notices a cart that passes by. The stranger draws attention to the year. He notices his rare gray wolf. He looks at the lacquer, immediately offers him a large amount. Rock immediately says that lacquers are not sold. The man is surprised by this answer. He smiles boldly and throws a pack of money into the air. Rock is amazed. The stranger offers 20 times higher than the market price. Rock does not sell a friend, even for big money. The stranger is surprised. This happened for the first time. He calls himself Gris. He is the only son of the richest merchant of the city, Earl Fanny. He is sure that Rock has to do what he wants. The guy does not consider a friend his property. He would never have sold lacquers. Gris is sure that you can buy everything in this city. He turns to his servant. He immediately confirms everything that Mr. Gris wants becomes him. Rock and his friends are surprised by this bold statement. But the servant continues to praise Gris. He considers him invincible. Gris offers his idea again, but again he hears the refusal. He calls Rock a fool. Suddenly, lacquers intervene in the conversation, and his anger is noticeable. He clearly says that only Rock is his master. Even 1,000 years later, Gris will not have the right to him. Everyone around becomes uncomfortable because of its presence. Gris is surprised by such devotion. He offers Lackey the best food for him to follow him. He proposes to choose any number, multiply by 100 and get so much money. It is unclear how it can withstand lacquer pressure. Rock with a cold smile offers Gris. He will tell where he found Lackey. Rock does not stop because it needs money. He offers an exchange. If Gris wants something at the auction, let him give him the Queen of Mermaids. Gris is confused. He does not understand where the Rock learned. Gris does not agree because mermaids are very valuable to him. Mermaids are important for his plans. Rock thinks why Gris is here. He considers the Rock a pathetic beggar. Talking to him, in his opinion, makes no sense. But Gris admits that this guy is interesting. Not everyone dare to argue with the merchant's son. He proposes to talk to the year and invites him to go together. They come to the great palace. They go corridors with high ceilings. Even varnishes would have a lot of space here. Gris is surprised that the common man was in this place. He boasts a bronze statue for 1 billion that shows its beauty. White wolves appear in the hallway, for which he also paid a lot. Rock recalls that these wolves are rare. They were almost destroyed for good fur. Gris asks to go on. They enter the banquet hall. There is a lot of food on the tables. It's time for dinner. Gris begins to eat and jokes that these guests usually eat something disgusting. But Rock friends think differently. They like Gargle's food more. Such hospitality can be a trap. But they do not restrain and start eating immediately. Rock tries to stop them. Lackey soothes him. The dish has no smell of poison. It became clear Gris does not use dishonest methods. He can get everything without tricks, but Rock is already tired of the over-attention of people. When everyone ate, Gris started talking. Finally, it's time to go to business. He reported that no one was listening in this room. Everything is under control. He, with a smile, proposes to tell the year about his plan with mermaids. Lackey, meanwhile, goes to the garden. Gris proposes to start a conversation. Silence comes. Gris says that the lacquer was the boss of the 10th floor of the Dungeon of Destruction outside the capital. Rock does not know if there are such creatures. Gris knows this dungeon. It is only suitable for S-class warriors. Rock was surprised because he did not expect Gris to be so well aware. This is logical. The son of a merchant often receives news from various sources. Rock asks why Gris the mermaid. Gris wants to use them for trade. Gris says the fishermen will soon attack the city. Chad has learned about this with his device for predicting disasters. Previously, this device accurately predicted attacks of white wolves and other misfortunes. Gris considers the mermaid a mermaid species. They have a queen, so they are organized. He wants to train his underwater army. He believes that this will help reduce the damage to the city. City leaders want to buy a device from a child if its prophecy is true again. Their interest seems suspicious. Rock finally understands what the conspiracy is. He explains that Chad illegally sells creatures and conducts experiments with a virus that changes their nature. The Cut knew about it but had no evidence. Chad acted carefully. In the city, he distributed food and opened medical vents, so he quickly gained trust. Many guards are bribed. Without evidence, nothing can be done. Gris says travelers behave brazenly, even in his city. Rock is looking for evidence. He begins to think that Gris is different than people say. He is considered a stupid son of a rich man. In fact, he is very smart. Gris admits that he is convenient when he is perceived as a fool. In this case, it is easier to negotiate with everyone. Rock is surprised by such an attitude. Now he wants to talk seriously. He asks if Gris Rock will support if he finds evidence against the child. The Cutting agrees no longer to discuss it, but Rock puts another condition. He asks him to give him mermaids if Gris wins an auction. This proposal is surprised by Gris. Rock promises to provide coaches for underwater fights for a few days. After the pause, Gris quit Rock. He admits that this guy has attracted his attention. He considers the boy worthy of arrangements. They shook their hands. This is how their temporary partnership began. Rock asks Dahmert whether there is news about the sphere. She replies that this time it was difficult. She did not sleep, but she understood everything, can now rest. There is a problem in the sphere. It affects the mind and takes away Manu. This is a device for collecting energy. Their goal is to bring to the life of a demon that once threatened around the world. Rock is shocked. Dahmert does not know all the details, but old documents point to a very dangerous thing. Rock thinks it is related to Shannon. She also suffered from this curse. Dahmert connects all facts. He concludes that it can be the same demon. Rock also suspects, but there is no evidence yet. Dahmert says it is just an assumption. If it is indeed a demon of legends, its return will be threatened with a disaster. To prevent this from happening, you need to find the creator of the sphere and stop the ritual of the Renaissance. Rock suspects a Cut that creates magical tools and children. He asks Dahmert to continue the study to gather more evidence. Rock spends all the time before the auction to collect information about children and his illegal cases. A turn was formed near the auction near the kitchen of Mr. Chad. Hot soup was distributed here. People stood and waited for food. They were given food every day. Everyone sincerely thanked Mr. Chad. Rock noticed another queue. This time she was to a free treatment point. People were happy because they were helped here for free. A boy named Nujud calls a girl to wait for her turn. She replies that everything is fine and asks him not to cry. Her turn came. The guy was worried. Lackey calmly said that Chad controls everyone. Rock agreed. If the Chad was not related to something bad, it would seem perfect. Suddenly, a noise was raised near the guild board. There was a new order there. All adventurers have to prepare for a possible fisherman's attack in the coming days. Chad guessed again. Rock agrees with Gris. Some are already preparing for battle. Others are hesitant, but most believe the prophecy of the child. Rock still thought about the prophecy. Suddenly, he heard a familiar crying. It was the same boy. They came up to find out what happened. The boy was frightened because he took Lackey for a big and terrible dog. He called out loud for help. Rock led the lacquer to the garden so that the baby would not be scared. It didn't help. The boy began to cry even harder. Shannon intervened. She leaned to the boy and talked to him calmly. The boy gradually calmed down. Shannon praised him for his courage and offered cookies. The boy thanked her goodness for the delicacies. He was hungry but wept for another reason. His younger sister disappeared. Disappeared? Shannon asks how this girl disappeared. The boy said her sister scored her leg and went to the healer. He went out for food, and when he returned, she was gone. The tent was told that she had left alone. The boy could not find her. He said the sister considers himself an adult. Shannon asks if the boy wants to look for his sister with the lacquer. The boy agrees. Lackey returns. He apologized for his promise without the permission of others. The guys don't mind. Lackey jokes that Shannon is ready to become a dog. Now it all depends on the lacquer. They move quickly with Roofs sitting on a lacquer. The boy is surprised. It compares lacquers with the wind. Lackey hears it and proud. Lackey rejoices when he is praised. Rock notes that Shannon finds a good language with children. She says she has a younger brother. Rock thanks her for the help. Shannon turns to a boy named Rillan and asks for his parents. He replies that they have no parents. White wolves attacked their town. The father and other men began to defend themselves. Shannon apologizes that she reminded of painful. Rillan still tells. They went to relatives to the capital. Nujua stumbled and was injured. Rock sees an unusual sign on the boy's neck. They come to the estate. It was the residence of the child. All are confused. Lackey smells of Nuoid and other children inside. Rock believes that Chad has used free treatment points for orphans. The guard noticed them. Friends decided to escape to Gris to discuss the plan. They come to Gris Palace at night. The palace sleeps. Gris comes out to meet them. They ask him to oversee the cut. He agrees but asks for explanation. Rock says he will tell everything later. Now something else has been distracted. Shannon regrets that she was unable to turn Rillan's sister. He does not seem and swear to save the Nadu. I remember Nuda also asked to take care of her. Rock comes to the house of the sorceress Rice to find Adalba. The Dalba is not there. The door opens the Rice. Everything became clear. Everything happens as he was told. He asks whether she was mentioned about Lydia B. She became interesting. Rock says he heard about it by accident when he walked the city. It is rumored that it is hiding on the west coast. It is said that during the attack of the undead on the capital, Lydia was seriously injured or may have suffered even more. Growing is sure that it was Lydia. Rock is not sure of this, but he wants to help because he knows that he is looking for her. He says goodbye and asks to convey the greetings of the Daluba. Lydia survived, grew up. In the meantime, Cancer finished cooking the trap. All you have to do is inform Pedro and Mermaid. He believes that he will be able to save Neor, even if he has to look at the face of face. Meanwhile, Shannon is coming to the house. There are 2 guards at the gate. She asks if Mr. Chad's house is. The guards were alert. They didn't know who this girl and what she wanted. They decided that she was just a fan of the child. If she insists, she will be allowed to look inside. They wanted to offer something, but did not have time. Behind the rock appears and faints both of them. The guy was worried about Shannon, but nothing threatens. It quickly takes the key from the guard and inserts it into the lock. They did not know about the traps inside, so they went caution and quietly. Rock went into the large inner yard and alerted. He heard a noise nearby. It was a flock of wolf monsters. The red coyotes were surrounded on all sides. These are Class BB animals, but there were many. Patra left the garden of monsters. She politely asked the coyotes to let her go. She wants to deal with them. They did not respond. She screamed. A large, angry ant appeared behind her back. Coyotes scared and departed. They freed the boys. Patra thanked the beasts. She behaved like a queen of orange ants. She called the year and pointed to the building where the children were. Rock thanked and stroked her on his head. They went on and descended the stairs into the basement. Chad was very cunning. The medical center lured the orphans. In the basement behind the bars were children. 5 men praised children. They believed that it was more profitable to sell children than to treat them. One of them mentioned that even artificial magical beasts were expensive. He asked the next time to bring another one, then suddenly fell asleep. Others also fell asleep at the table one by one. The most stable fell asleep the latter, but also did not resist. The children fell asleep from a flower with hypnotic seal. Rock opened the grate and went to them. The children were sitting in a circle with their knees. Their hands were tied. They looked at the boy and his friends in surprise. Rock asked how they felt, but no one answered. Then he remembered Raelna, who asked to help them. One girl recognized the name. It was her brother. Rock realized that it was Nude. The rest of the children believed her. If you do not give up, you can always find a way out. Everything as Rylan said. Nuda is strong in spirit. Her brother often complains. Nuyuda is brought to be strong. There is little time. Rock gave her the keys, but she managed herself. She got the wire and quickly unlocked the shackles. Rock and Patra were surprised. To break the lock is a common thing for Elaine. She wanted to escape for a long time, but did not know how to free all the children at once. She was very happy when she saw the rescuers. Rock was silent because he was ready to act. The pattern was interested in breaking. Utah eagerly showed what to do. It is enough to repeat her movements. Patra completed the task and was very happy. She took another step towards the title of Real Lady. The children were released. The boys mentioned the red coyotes. This issue has not yet been resolved. Patrick reassured her. He said everything would be fine because Patra is nearby. The Queen Titus boasted, which could scare everyone with one look. Utah said that she was interested in Patra's skills and that she would also like to learn so. She suggested that she may be able to do it if she looks threatening. Rock and Shannon looked at them in surprise. The girls put on their face evil masks and tried to look scary. Patry liked it. The look was perfect. They quickly became girlfriends. Guys need to find a prediction device and return to Gris. They brought the children to Gris and asked to look after them. They said that there is a younger sister of Rillan's among children. Gris agreed. Nuda asked where her brother. Gris replied that he had already called relatives in the royal capital and sent his brother there. He said they sincerely thank everything he did. Others, meanwhile, approached the year to talk about the next stage. Everything happened as they expected. Tomorrow promises to be fun. These were good news. Now they have an advantage. The next day at 6 in the evening was a crucial moment. Everyone was looking forward to starting the auction. There were many people here. The rich with free time love such sights. Rock asked Gris if there would be a child's auction. Gris replied that Chad always appears over 100 million. Don't worry, the presenter proclaims an introductory speech. The slave auction begins. A servant, a man from the race of a dragon god, put in the cage. The initial rate is 100 units. Viewers at the tables increase the rates. Rock recognizes the dragon. This is his acquaintance. It was a sheet. He asks Gris to win this rate and promises to return everything later. It was this dragon that saved them from guard. Gris raises up to 500. In the hall, someone still offered as much. The attendees immediately recognized who did it. There were no other pawns. 500 became the final price. Rock thanked Gris. He believed that 500 was the usual price of a slave. In fact, this amount was much lower than market value. The races of the demonic god is rarely chosen because of its complex nature. 500 is a favorable price. Gris was bet, and no one was competing. They said that Gris was rich and behaved corrupted, so everything became clear. The next lot is the Pearl. It is a combat mermaid, one of the brightest among its species. It was the queen of mermaids. The initial rate was 50 million. It is unknown whether it will be saved. Bidding began. The rates quickly rose to 56.5 million. Gris immediately raised up to 100 million. Everyone in the hall was recognized. The bidding continued. The amount reached 130 million. Gris named the amount of 300 million. Everyone was angry in the hall, a lot. The presenter asked if someone else wanted to raise the bet. The 300 million rate has not yet been exceeded. Everyone knew that Gris would behave that way. It was believed that competing with a rich guy was in vain. Gris decided to pay the bill. They came to a friendly man with mustache. A guard stood nearby. He immediately recognized Gris. It was a child. He sincerely thanked Gris for buying a mermaid in his office. Chad passed the contract. Gris began to sign papers. Rock watched this carefully. Signing the contract, Gris thought that the child invented the story of an attack on the village of Ruzalok. Chad smiled, thinking it's a joke. Gris said that most slaves they sell are not able to write and read. When the child appears, the orphans disappear and become slaves. It is rumored that in one city he drew wolves on the Duke. Chad pretends not to understand anything, but Gris remembers he studied the child's prediction device. It turned out to have a magical force to interact with demons, but the child is still pretending. He narrowed his eyes and looked suspiciously at Gris. He does not like when someone checks his device. He considers it disrespect. He needs evidence. Gris looks at the butter. He understands and opens. The door opened. A familiar girl came into the room. Chad seems to be recognized. She saw his crimes and could tell them. After the abduction from a free hospital, she was closed in the basement with other orphans. Chad was surprised. He confidently said that people in the city trust him. No one will believe the words of the orphan. Not everything went according to plan. There were unexpected difficulties. The girl is a Neutalius. She is the daughter of the Duchy family, one of the highest in the nobility. Chad was shocked. It is the heir to the Louis family. She confirms that Chad stole her and locked it in the basement. She wants to tell everyone that it was the child who organized the attack of white wolves, which destroyed her hometown. Chad was shocked. He did not think that someone from the family of Louis remained alive. He wanted evidence. Neolia had no doubt. She slid her hair and showed her back tattoo. It was a coat of arms that proved its origin from Louis' house. The child has swept the rage. The slave traveler could not know. The Dusical families have the tradition of applying the coat of arms to the body with a secret dye. This is a real confirmation. Her older brother is already going to the capital. Gris's relatives live there. Very soon everyone will learn the truth. Who will trust more, the Duke's daughter or a simple slave? Chad was surprised. He stood in a bold pose. Gris advised him to give up while there was time. It became quiet for a moment, then Chad laughed. He didn't care. He raised his hand. The guards behind his back became alert. Chad thinks it controls all guards in the city, but even then Gris came with all these people. He thinks that Gris is a naive fool. Gris frowned. He wished Chad to bargaining well with the other. By waving his hand, he ordered to go to the exit. The guards are ready for storming. The city will soon begin. Rock thinks that Chad goes to the harbor to escape on the ship. He decides to leave everything in this building under Shannon's care. Rock is calling Gris and says it's time to go. Gris is amazed. He will really leave Shannon himself. This girl is not afraid. She boldly goes into battle and attacks enemies confidently like a predator. Shannon has a good sword. It has all the advantage. It does not allow it to be ignored. Everyone who becomes in the way is neutralized. The guards were scared. Friends look at her with respect and admiration. Shannon trains with Fenrir. It is not only beautiful but also strong. Shannon is surprised that Rock calls her cute. She laughed nervously. The guards did not approve it. It's time to move on. The day comes to the guy's house. He is surprised that Rock really works with Gris. The day is responsible for the production of goods. He has already prepared 2 slaves he collected. Rock is glad that Drakal is intact. Drakal seems to be guilty of this guy now. Drakal may not worry. Rock himself wanted to thank for help. But the dragon asks why the mermaid costs 300 million and it is only 500,000. Rock believes that the race of the Draken gods does not deserve more. Drakal is indignant and wants to start over. Rock apologizes because little time. He asks Drakal to take the mermaid to the sea. The dragon is ready to help but upset that he is left. Rock looks around. It approaches the aquarium. From there, the mermaid jumps out. She finds herself in his hands. He has time to catch her. It is easy for him to carry the queen of mermaids, but he paid Gris, so you do not need to call the owner the owner. It's time to go. Rock understands. She concluded a small agreement with him.